All right, here we go. Welcome, Stunthangar fans. It is May the 20th, Monday evening, and this is the post Joe Nall report, I guess, because that's the biggest thing to talk about tonight. And several of our regular guests were there with me this weekend. We had a great time, of course. I gave you my Thursday report on a Friday show. Went up there Thursday and played around, and then went back and had a great time this weekend. I actually got to fly on my own 2 feet with the help of my big friend Mike Leinke to hold me up and make sure I didn't fall and break my neck. And he saved me from that, and I managed to fly part of a pattern. So, hey, got my first official in since 2 years ago at Triple Tree. And so we'll call that a win. And welcome. And we'll hang out here until at least midnight. Depends on how the conversation goes. Got a few people, got 6 of you watching out there on YouTube. Hey, David Phelps, he's the first one in. And so, I don't really have anything planned. We just hopefully can talk about the weekend. That's the biggest thing in my life right now. It was great. Um, about the show, though, let me do my usual intro. The links are posted in the usual places in the At the Bench thread on Stunthangar Control Line forums to click and come in live if you click tonight's post. And it is, I double check, make sure I did post it. And you can also go to the Stunthangar Control Line or the Stunthangar YouTube channel and watch the show there, where you can use the text chat box and type messages to me like David Phelps is up there doing, and we'll try to incorporate your conversations into the video guests. So welcome. Somebody please come and visit me so I don't have to think up too much to talk about, because if I appear to be tired, it's because I am tired. It's a long weekend. But I did good. I got around. I was pretty mobile, walking around with the cane, but still didn't have any didn't have any problems getting around. That was great. I had a great window of opportunity, and I used it to my fullest. And lots of good flying went on. We had our experts up there. From California was David Fitzgerald, who put up a video, a flight on video that Will Davis posted on his YouTube page. If you haven't watched it, and if you are an aspiring stunt pilot, you should really go watch that. It's not a picture of the plane flying. It's a picture of just David with the handle and lines in his hand. And you watch the consistency and the posture that he uses, and it's an amazing video. That's on Will Davis's YouTube uh, channel, and it's David Fitzgerald, and that's, I think, the title. Close enough. You should be able to find it, and that's well worth watching. And he also posted a great video of a compilation from beginning to end of the Joe Nall, from driving through the gates, touring, going through the RC lines and on down to the control line circles, and then some pictures of us flying all the way through the closing ceremony with the awards and the pictures of each winner's circle for all of the different classes of flying. And hey, got me another winner's circle picture. I came in third out of 3 after flying about half the pattern before handing the handle off to my buddy Mike. And so, hey, I'll call that a win. That's the most I've done in 2 years. So, hey, that's great. You had a good time. Gary Sinclair's out there. He wants to hear all about the Joe Nall. I'll try to give it to you tonight, Gary. I am kind of brain dead right now, so forgive me if I'm not right on the ball. But hopefully, if we get some visitors in here, they can contribute and we can rehash what went on. And Sparky's here. Let me let him in so he can talk to us. And I know that he's got a bunch of videos to put together. Good evening, Sparky. Get your mic turned on there.
What's happening?
Not much. I'm just still in decompression mode here, but it was a good weekend. I'm tired, but I'm still in one piece. Had a great time.
Yeah, I got quite a bit of video. It's taken longer to get together than I thought.
I didn't expect it to pop up real soon. That's fine. Yeah, whenever it comes up, we'll be waiting. Jackson says hello. Hey, Jack.
Will did a really nice video.
He did. I love the one of David Fitzgerald, just him holding the handle and flying. That's a great example of consistent posture all the way through the flight.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a different posture that works for them, you know, so you can't try to copy somebody's posture, but just seeing how consistent he is really telling about what it takes to fly a perfect pattern.
I think I'm going to go into the bookmaking scenario on contest, because we could have had that contest and nobody flew. I predicted the order of winners before they even flew.
You nailed them, huh?
Yep. In the exact order. You know, I don't know.
I got some pretty good videos, but the only trouble is the wind switched up every time I was ready, and I didn't get them from the right perspective, except for one flight by Don Jenkins I got from the judge's perspective, and that's about it. I got you from the wrong side twice, and I got everybody else from the wrong side. And I might have gotten Derek Barry's last flight of David's Thundergazer, because after David donated it to the museum or the education center, and after the contest was over, Derek put the final flight on it and put it to rest. So that was a great contribution.
It's a good thing that they weren't in St. Louis or Dayton, and I was close to my toolbox, because I'd have got my side cutters and cut the lines off the thing. Yeah, to make sure it never flew again.
God, I don't know. That would seem sacrilegious to cut the lines off of a plane. Leave them on there.
Yeah, it'll be back out. What's David going to fly at the Nats?
I don't know.
He says he doesn't have a new airplane.
He better get to work, or he might want to borrow one from the wall at Triple Tree.
Yeah, that's why I said to cut the lines off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't fly a borrowed airplane and open.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's not his anymore. But that was a great gesture. I was glad to see that. I heard it was a really nice ceremony on Friday up top where they did the presentation. And I wanted to go walk around the hangar and look around the education center, but by the time I was leaving, I just had home in my sights, and I just drove right on by.
Well, I was going to go down there and film, but nobody wanted to give me a ride down there. I'm not carrying that stuff down there.
Here comes Steve Hines, and oops, I hit present to everyone. Hang on, Steve, I got you. I'm clicking the wrong buttons here. I'm a little slow tonight. And Tim Redelman just dropped in. I met Tim. He is one of our watchers, a regular watcher, and so we sat and talked for a while, sitting outside the whatever you call it, the cupola or the whatever the little shelter is. But yeah, we had a good talk. It was nice to meet you, Tim. Thanks. He's out there on the YouTube watching us right now, and lots of people came up to me and said, "Oh yeah, now that I see who you are, I want to ask you or tell you," or they all told me how great the show is. They like to watch it puttering around in their shop, and so lots of people watch this show that we don't ever know about, and I really love finding out who our silent watchers are at these contests. I see them all the time, and so I appreciate you guys coming up to me and let me know who you are.
So how was Joe Nall?
Oh, it was pretty good. It was excellent, Steve. We had a great time. Fun was had by all.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And the weather the weather gods were kind. I think they owed us one after last year, but it was beautiful weather. The wind was a little shifty, but you couldn't even call it wind. It was more like the breeze was a little shifty, and if you didn't have to fly for the judges, you could pretty much fly anywhere you wanted to without worrying about getting blown out. But it was just a light breeze. But there were thermals as the day got warmer, and it kept shifting a little bit. Here comes Tryon. So we're gathering our Huntersville attendees here. Hey, Tryon.
Hey, how you doing?
I enjoyed meeting your son. I talked to him a couple of times off and on, and did not realize that's who it was until later on. And I realized, oh, they're the same. They're the same family. And then I realized who I'd been talking to. So he's a good guy. I enjoyed meeting him.
What?
I asked Rusty, I said, his son doesn't have an accent?
No.
No, that sounds like a American.
Hey, Doran, I see that you added the down elevator that I told you about it last year, Nats. It still needs some more.
I know, I still added some more when I got home.
Yeah, make the tail come up till it looks like it's flying downhill, and then you can take it out until it's level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't notice it was sagging, but I do see some that do. But that was a really nice flying plane, though. You looked like you were on rails out there. I know we talked about that, and you still didn't score where you wanted to, but it still put up an admirable flight. That was some good flying you did. Everybody did some good flying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody was flying very, very well, very solid. So the one thing I left the competition with for myself is that I really need a coach, because I got to a point where I seem like I plateaued, I maxed out, and I don't seem to make forward progress.
Flying as well as you know how to, but you don't know how to up it from there.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I mean, to me, it looks like I'm flying pretty solid, nice bottoms, nice shape, stuff like that. But I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe I'm missing some shape. Maybe I'm missing some overlapping on the consistency of the maneuvers. Put them over on top of each other. The same. Maybe my bottoms are sometimes too low or sometimes too high. I don't know. I have some inconsistencies in it, but I need somebody to just keep an eye on me and tell me, like, hey, you're doing this wrong or something like that. Try to correct this, or maybe change some techniques. Focus more on the background than on the plane.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, can be anything, a number of them. Or focus on a plane to here, and from there you focus on the background. Maybe it's a combination of both, but how and where and how much, it takes. I don't know.
Yeah. And we were talking about that flight that Will made of David Fitzgerald, and I was commenting on the consistency of his posture throughout that flight, where the camera was just focused on him and not the plane. And it's amazing at how accurately his body is calculated through the whole flight, every maneuver, and it's perfect every single time. It's the same.
Yeah, he has flown so many times that he got to the point to build up a routine that works for him. While I keep trying different things. So one flight I'm doing this, another flight I'm doing something different, and it's like a hit or miss, and I haven't had time to really settle in on something. I mean,
some of these guys spend a lot more of their life flying than we have. Some of others of us have time for it too. I mean, you got school, you got family, you got all that kind of stuff, and some of these guys just dedicate more time to it, and that makes a difference too.
We got wind, we got rain, we got cold. They don't have, in California, they got way more time to practice.
Yeah. So that's that. It's like, for me, I had a bunch of nice days to go out and fly, but school and all the other stuff, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
One thing that I picked up from it wasn't stunt cap, but Randy told me I kept bobbling my corners. And so I took the nose weight out of my airplane because I was adding nose weight to compensate for that bobble at the bottom of the corner, and put the handle out one hole. So I moved the rockers out one hole for more stick pressure. So on the drive home, that airplane, the Venado is a nice looking airplane, but it has a bad problem. The wingspan is 64 inches. It's a high aspect ratio wing. And in the wind, it's constantly buffeting. So tomorrow night at the club meeting, I'm going to take the high roller out and wrap some solder around the tail wheel and make it tail heavy. And with that handle change, it should be able to hit the corners nice.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, I was always kind of the opinion to move the CG back if the plane is tracking well. If it's not tracking, you have to keep the CG forward. But if it's tracking very, very well and it's very stable, that's a benefit to move the CG back, because you have a lot corners much faster. You have a lot less deflection on your flaps and elevator to turn the plane, and you maintain energy. So when you get out of the corner, you maintain speed. And you
It
can
feels like a lunker on the end of the lines with all that weight up in the nose. Even though the airplanes weigh pretty close to the same, the Venado is 59 ounces and the high roller 62 ounces, so that's 3 ounces. But it's all in the nose, all that concentrated weight up there in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to wrap some solder on the tail wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Because that's probably what I'm going to fly at the Nats, the high roller.
Yeah.
And after I figure out how much weight it needs and where the CG needs to be, is I'm going to put some death paint on it to move the CG, take the solder off, and shoot some PPG clear on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you gave up on your new airplane already for the Nats, or
Oh, what's that?
you gave up on your new plane?
The new one's over my head. I'll never make it. I'll never have it finished and test flown in time. I mean, we're coming up close. We're only a month away, if you think about it.
And you got Brodak in between too.
Right. So I'll get the high roller ready and fly it at Brodak, start flying it. I have to make a decision here quickly what I'm going to fly. Am I going to put the XL back together and fly it, or I'm going to fly the Venado, which I doubt because it's, like I say, too high aspect ratio. It's a good calm weather airplane, but the Nats, it's always windy. So I'm going to, fly the short wing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got plenty of time to do that. Come on. I'm going to go and start building my plane in a week or so.
Yeah.
That ugly old profile I flew is one of the nicest flying planes, and it's just a stunt trainer, but that's one of the nicest flying planes I've ever flown. It goes where I point it better than just about anything I've ever built.
Did you fly the whole pattern? Did you get the whole pattern in?
I flew half of it before I had to hand it off. Mike was out in the circle with me, and he had to catch me. He bear hugged me a couple of times to keep me from falling, and then let go. And I made it through the triangles, and I was getting winded, and so we handed off. So I did 8 stunts. Of the 8 stunts I did, on one score sheet or the other, I scored 30 points on 4 of them. And on the ones that I didn't score 30 points or more on, I totally botched because it was just getting all out of sorts and off balance. But the ones I could actually plant my feet and fly, I flew 30 or better points on. So, hey, I'll call it a win. I came in third. Sam Lunke beat me. He came in second. And then Charlie Sabatka has got to be the most improved intermediate flyer out there, and I think he's ready for advance now. He came so far from last year to this year, and he's flying really nice looking, locking bottoms, flying shapes. He's ready if he wants to move up.
Post some scores and stuff like that. The only one I seen was just expert. Nothing else was even posted.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot posted. Everybody's whipped. You know, they were there all week and nobody's rushing. Will have pictures of scoreboards up and Howard's writing a report. And so it'll all come out, but you just got to be patient. All those people that were there, especially the ones that were there for the whole week, are just totally wiped out.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened to me this past weekend. I about fell over twice on the reverse wing over out in that circle, stumbling. I flipped out of the trailer and broke my camera. First night there, Mike Wonky helped me get off the ground. God damn, that hurt.
And I'm glad Mike's on fall patrol. He kept picking people up that fall down.
Who won it? Advanced.
Gosh, let's see.
Waldron. It's Mark Waldron.
Ron Waldron, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Here comes Rich. Let me let Rich in. And Mike Waldron came in third after Derek and David. Okay, there you go, Rich. Man.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me screen share my picture for y'all. I got a picture of little old me. One more time, application window. There we go. And there's Rusty, Sam, and Charlie. And Charlie had a legitimate win. It doesn't matter who else was flying an intermediate. Charlie would have won that. And Sam made it all the way into the overhead eights and tripped and fell and bam, hit the ground. And that's what happened to his plane. But he was flying. Sam's a good pilot. He was flying really well. And of course, there's old Rusty on the right who managed half a pattern and got in the winner's circle. So,
yeah. Sam is ready for a good plane.
yeah.
Yeah, he should start flying those nobblers and vectors that he's got on his hands, and he would do well. But from what I understand, he just slipped and fell off.
Yeah, he did.
Because the grass was very wet at the time, and just bam.
He did that. Yeah, that's right. That was in first round Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that at the Nats last year too. He fell down in the overhead eight, so that might be in his head a little bit. But he's flying an admirable pattern. He can fly really well. So
What
he's
kind of
leaving a smoking pile of gray-haired guys in his wake.
what kind of shoes was he wearing?
I don't know.
Some sneakers, I think.
I mean,
I don't know if they're lace ups or what. I didn't even check. I wear flat bottom lace up New Balance, super lightweight shoes.
okay, because I know that was a deal with Samantha, her wearing flip flops and sandals and weird shoes and all that kind of stuff flying, and she'd slip and stuff like that. And finally, I'm like, listen, you're going to get a good pair of shoes and wear them flying. You can take them off when you're done flying. I don't give a shit what you wear, but you got to have something to where your feet are planted well.
Yeah, that's easy to overlook if you're not thinking about it. Shoes are important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Usually something with a little bit of a heel to keep you up on your toes. If you have better balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's some pictures from Joe and all. That's the flight line there. Aerial view. Are you sharing that, Rusty?
I am. Yeah, hang on just a second. I'm almost there.
Who had a drone out there?
Mark.
Mark had a drone.
Oh, okay.
That's the first one. There's a second one in a little lighter light. And that circle there, I think that's I don't know. That's number 2 circle.
The middle circle's got a little problem with the soil.
Looks like horses been out there dancing on it.
Yeah.
The top and bottom circle are meticulous, but the middle circle does have a little soil problem.
There's the putting green. I can't explain to people how nice that grass is. It's unbelievable. I would trade that our paved circle for that grass circle any day of the week.
There's that center circle. You can see the patchy on that. And it doesn't affect the way the plane rolls, but it's still more unsightly than the other two circles. That's Mark, I think, standing there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's Mark.
They didn't have the big giant pop-up tent this year, which suited me because it causes the wind to come rolling out from underneath it over one of the circles. And
Let Mike Wonky in.
oh, there he is. Sorry, didn't see him coming.
There's
There you go.
the group of guys.
Mhm.
You love your wife?
I don't love my wife. My wife's a pain in the ass.
Oh, I saw the picture of the drone in that shot.
There's the grass.
Yeah, that's a good picture of it. That makes it look longer than it really is.
There's circle one. Dave, I guess it's Dave gonna fly. Oh, oh, that's it.
On the road again.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mike. Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Mike.
Right.
I was watching on YouTube there for a minute before I came in. I heard y'all talking about salmon and falling down.
Yeah.
I think what's happening, not only did he do that at the Nats and Joe Knoll, he's done that one other time in the overhead eights. And I think what's happening, hang on, I'm trying to plug my damn.
Unpresent me, Rusty.
Thank you.
Oh, all right, go ahead and finish up, Sparky, whatever you were.
We're done. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the controls tonight. There we go.
Oh, okay. I think what's happening, he's so long and gangly and tall and spindly and awkward. I think when he's stopping to do his overhead eights, his feet are literally right next to each other. I mean, he's
Instead
coming
of
in,
shoulder width.
stopping, and he's got his feet together. And when he goes up, he goes to make a step, and he trips over his own damn feet.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to start doing is putting him into a football stance when he goes to stop to do that maneuver. I'm going to tell him, spread your legs, plant them,
Yeah.
and then get some width on his feet. And I think that'll solve his problem.
Did you watch
really think
that video of David flying where he spreads his feet wider than his shoulders and squats?
I think that's all it is Sam has his feet right next to each other, and he goes up and he goes to move, and he hits his tennis shoes together, and he falls.
Yeah.
If he was even just a foot apart, he'd be okay. He goes
Yeah.
to take that step, and
Yeah, the plane rocks him around too. So
yeah. So I think that's something good that we learned this week, because it's the third time it's happened. So we're going to work on his stance, I guess, when he goes into a maneuver, and that should solve it. I think.
yeah.
Mike, I want to say thank you so much for sharing that plane with Alexander.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish we could have had more flights on it than just the one.
Yeah. That was his number 4 flight ever.
Yeah.
1 and 2 were on my plane. I'm not sure what he was trying to do over there. I think I was trying to have him fly level, but he kept going up and down, so I wasn't sure exactly whether he was trying to fly level or if he was just messing around, not listening to me. So those are the 2 1-minute flights that he had before that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the Joe Knoll, they had that yellow plane.
The
that
ring.
Yeah, the ring ride that Mark was sharing with Alexander, and he got Alex at the center, and 2-3 laps later, and then he let Alex go on his own. So he had such a progression over there, it just surprised me, and he wanted to go fly. I mean, he loved that, which is I didn't expect that, but was a pleasant surprise. What can I say?
That's great. Did he and Sam get to know each other?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They played paper airplanes, and they goofed around and hung out together.
Yeah, I saw a pile of paper airplanes out there.
I'll tell you, Brian, when I put him on that slow combat plane, I mean, it was only 4 or 5 laps, and I could tell that he had the feel of it, and he wasn't going to crash it.
Uh-huh.
and he was flying pretty high in the beginning, and I kept telling him, just bring it lower, and he did. He put it where I told him. You know, I told him to fly it at like 15 feet,
Uh-huh.
and he brought it down there, and he never got below 8 feet, and he never went above 20 feet. He wasn't doing this, you
Mm-hmm.
know. He kept it when it was
Pretty
coming down,
steady.
bring it up. When it was coming up, he'd bring it down. He kept it in the right range,
Mm-hmm.
so he did well.
Uh-huh.
I think 2 more flights I could have had him doing a loop, probably.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. What happened after that, after you flew it, I think after he flew the plane, that your plane that day, was his last flight of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And next day in the morning, I forget the name of the gentleman who loaned us that Fox 15 plane.
Mm-hmm.
So next day in the morning, we set up a handle for him. I mean, I set it up to get it neutral and stuff like that. And he started to do his own takeoffs. And I just sat besides him and said, Alex, just find your neutral spot. And he would do that. I said, are you ready to take off? He said, yes. I said, don't do anything. Just let the plane take off by himself. And he did some beautiful takeoffs on the plane. I mean, the plane just slip off the ground without just hopping or anything like that. Just nice, gentle slip off the ground, climb. He climbed to about 6 to 10 feet, lock it in over there. I mean, it was just like it was on rails, and then he landed it. And I made a mistake when I told him like to have the plane always come down. I should have explained him how to add up elevator gradually and control the descent speed, but still have the plane come
Yeah.
down. So
Well, it was his 5th flight, so I think he
yeah,
was okay.
six and seven, yeah,
Yeah.
and he did great. And after the competition, I had one battery left over, so I got him to fly the Revolution again. And he took off the plane, he flew it level and stuff like that. And I said, "Hey, you want to do a loop?" And he said yes. And I said, and I tried to talk him over. I tried to teach him up to fly over his right shoulder, right? Fly the plane over the right shoulder, lead the plane with the body, stop, plant, fly the plane in front of him, and then start and follow the plane in a loop. So, so then he wanted to do loops and stuff like that. It was kind of funny. and and I said, okay, let's do something new. No, I said we're gonna go flying verti now. And I said, down is your friend. Down, remember this. Down is your friend in inverted flight. So I took him to fly it inverted, so we flew inverted like that, and he was getting a little bit lost. And I said, down is your friend. So we should down, did half a loop, and bring it back over. And at the end of the flight, I let him land it, and I said, okay. I said, listen, Alex, this is what I want you to do. When the engine stops, just look at the fuselage, make sure it's level. Don't put the nose up, don't put the nose down. Just keep the fuselage level. And the plane would just glide itself in nicely. And I said, now add a little bit of up. And he would do that, and he's slowing down a little bit the descent, you know. And just before he was touching down, I said, now give it a little bit more up and hold there. And he did it. Beautiful, smooth landing and everything. I was like, holy smokes.
Very nice. That's good.
Yes. And he
Well,
liked
before I
it.
go, I want to say thanks, Mike, for picking me up after my hitter.
Oh God, I was so scared, man. I was like, oh shit, Spark's down, man. That was a big drop off too out of Jerry's trailer, man. Oh,
Mm.
Sparky can't keep up with you drinking, huh, Mike?
no, Sparky wasn't drink. It was dark, man, and he, they kept the porch light off so the bugs wouldn't be there. And Jerry really needs a box or something under. I mean, it was a good. It wasn't 2 feet, but I bet it was 20 inches from the step to the ground.
Oh, the last step.
Yeah, it's not just a normal human step off the step of the trailer to the ground because of the way that the ground they had to level the trailer. It was a step and a half, and Sparky went. Well, the funny thing was, 5 minutes before that, he almost fell. The time you went in the trailer before that, you almost fell, but you caught yourself. And then, of course, he fell when he had his $5,000 camera.
I got it.
He hit the ground like a sack of shit too, man. It was, a big thump, and there was a little groaning going on, but he was okay. And did you get your camera fixed with the JB weld there?
Yeah, can't even tell it's busted.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't get hurt. That's more. Cameras can be replaced, and I guess hips can too, but they're expensive.
A lot more expensive.
I got a big cherry on Randy about a big round.
Yeah.
I enjoyed meeting your entourage, Sparky. Those are cool guys.
Have you not met John Jordan before?
No.
I believe he's been to Huntersville. Hasn't John been to Huntersville, Sparky?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I see him, I recognize, but I didn't put it all together until I went and sat with him and talked outside the trailer and got to know him a little bit better. And those are cool guys. I enjoyed meeting them.
The guy I was surprised to see was sitting there eating chili, and his back was to our trailer, and he was at Will's place eating chili, and I walked by him, and I looked up, and he's pointing at me like that, and I go, hey, I know who you are. Tommy Looper.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him since Huntersville, but I hadn't seen him in 10, 15 years since
I
Huntersville.
love Tommy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
So how'd you fly?
I took second in advance.
You flew well, considering all the grumbling you did about the trim on the plane.
Well, not the trim so much, the engine run.
Engine run, yeah.
I've got serious issues with the run on the airplane. The tank is jacked up. What we finally came to the conclusion of. I had Derek, Dave, Randy, pretty much all the top guys there were looking at my airplane, and we did a bunch of stuff to it because it was going rich on outsides and it was going rich inverted. So couldn't really move the tank because there was no room to do that. So I bought a set of landing gear off of the Bill's Hobby Shop guy, some aluminum landing gear, and then I scribed out some pads and shimmed the engine. I cut these out of aluminum landing gear. I cut out some shims with a Dremel, with Derek's Dremel, and drilled them out, lowered the engine. That helped a little bit. Randy checked the pipe and the pipe length, and of course Dave did too, and there was no leaks on the header. Randy did find that the needle had been cranked in so far that it kind of crushed the brass in the needle and left a mark. Crushed the brass in the
Venturi?
Spray bar?
Spray bar.
And it left a little mark on the needle. So we took that out and put a new needle in it. We changed the fuel line, put the right filter in it, and we ended up running it. He thought that since we couldn't lower the engine anymore and we couldn't move the tank up, we swapped the uniflow for the overflow. So we capped the uniflow instead of the overflow, and that helped a little bit more. But ultimately, it had to go up pretty lean for it to fly well upside down and through the outsides. So it was winding up on the insides a lot. But I got my 2 flights and everything was okay. But Randy told me to take, and I haven't done it yet. I just got home late Saturday night. I'm going to pull the tank out, take the back off the tank. He said to see if there's any crud in there, obviously. And then move the uniflow up like 3/16 of an inch, put it back together, and try again.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, Sparky.
See you later.
Good night, Sparky.
And Gerald Wimmer says hi to everybody out there. Thanks for the super chat, Gerald. Good evening, or afternoon in your case.
So that's where I'm at with that. It's still not perfect, but it's flyable. But hopefully this week I got to get the boat ready for this weekend. It's Memorial Day. I got 2 days probably working on the boat. And then I think Thursday and Friday I'll have some time to pull that tank out and see what's going on in there. Because he said, if it was brass tube, it could all be corroded in there, especially around the uniflow and the pickup. And just I got to pull the tank off and see what the hell's going inside. I didn't build the tank. The tank was built with the airplane a long time ago, so God knows what's going on in there. All I did was flush the tank. I never inspected inside. So that's the next step.
Oh, you changed the tank on that plane.
I did, but it's another tank from the same guy that built the same two airplanes. So they're from the same era. You know what I mean?
Are they just rectangular or wedges or what?
Yeah, they're wedges.
You know, one other thing you could try is on that Venturi, put a spigot in it. Pull it out.
I'm gonna do that. Randy said the motor sound. I mean, the guy who built the freaking motor looked at my pipe setup, the motor, the plug, the needle. He said, all this is fine. He said, you got a tank problem, you know? So that's where I'm going with it. I'm gonna head down that road because we pretty much did everything we could do while we were there. And if push comes to shove, and I get another Magnum Uniflow tank and put it in there, a brand new one. But on the upside, I bought an SV11 ARF from Randy when I was there, and the proper tank for that ARF, because he had those, because I've got another 61 coming. I knew I had a 61 coming before I went to Triple Tree, and I found out today that's a done deal. I've got a low time, about a 10-hour 61 with a header and a pipe coming. So that's going to go in the SV11R. I don't know if that'll happen before Brodax, because I'm going to try to do the yellow SV22. I'm going to get the tank sorted on that, try to fly it. And hopefully that's all I got to do before Brodax is get the yellow plane sorted out the rest of the way. But I can slam the ARF together in a weekend if I need to. You know?
Yeah.
I tell you, with a tank problem because we had it on the SV11 ARF. And one thing is I'd put the spigot in it. It's a better draw. But I ended up doing a plastic tank, put a clunk in it, and then for the univent, just bring it in, put a 90-degree on it, and have it right in the center of the tank. And then on that piece of tubing, solder a little arm on it. And all you got to do is push down or up on that arm. And that's like raising and lowering the tank.
Okay. Hang on one second. I'm still listening to you, so you keep talking.
And that works so good. And that's what I could probably pull it out of Samantha's.
Yeah, that's kind of what some people do with the clunk tanks too, that you can adjust just by twisting one of the lines, the vent line up and down.
You solder just a little like a handle on there, and you can move it up and down, and it works. They work perfect. I forget if it was Banjack or there was somebody there at Brodax who showed me the tank.
Okay. Well, Randy had these with him. This is the 7.5 ounce Magnum Uniflow. He said he had Brodax make these, and he said this is the tank to put in the SV11R. So I bought this tank from him, and this gives me the option too of either running the 61 or the 65, because there's enough fuel in this tank. This will hold enough. I could put the 65 in it if I wanted to. You know, he said, "This is the tank. This is what you need."
Yeah, I think those tanks are more consistent too, anyways, and I'd prefer those tanks over the plastic. To me, plastic tanks are just if you have to really put them on, you're obliged to do that. And the only time I used plastic tanks in my whole life was on a score plane, and I had to put a 6 ounces in it to run the 60 size motor. Yep. Otherwise, I didn't have enough fuel capacity in the 4-inch space that they gave me.
And they're also good for a 35 size Nobler too. The little 4-ounce Dubros fit perfectly in there. But other than that, that's where I use my plastic tanks. On profiles, I love them.
The one thing I don't give a shit if it's made out of plastic, steel, carbon fiber, paper. If you can make it work, it's a rectangular deal that holds fuel. And the only thing different with the plastic is that you can put the adjustable unit.
You don't use a clunk in a plastic tank?
Yeah.
Or you can put
I
a
gave
solid
up on
tube back there. I always use clunk, but you can put a solid tube also.
Speaking of clunks, I wanna share something with you guys. So Dick, the way you make your plastic clunk tank, where you solder the Uniflow to the clunk and that.
Yep.
You know what John Jordan told me, and he's got a really nice katana, which is an SV design with he's got a 61 or a 65 in it. He uses a metal tank, but he puts a clunk in a metal tank.
Yeah.
And he does what you do. He's
Yeah.
got two silicone tubes running down, one for the Uniflow, one for the clunk. With them, he just cuts a little notch in the clunk and then solders the Uniflow brass tube right there.
Yep.
But so he does a clunk tank in a metal tank.
Yeah.
And
Because
make
Banjock's where I got the idea.
and John,
That's how he makes them. He says they just don't have any troubles,
yeah, and John Jordan's plane ran like a top, man.
Yeah.
So he has this metal tank, and he takes the back off it and puts tubing in there with a clunk.
Yeah. Once it's done right, it ain't never gonna, unless you crash it. It's
Right.
not gonna move, otherwise the clunk gets jammed in the front,
Right.
Yeah. But you still have to center the tank on your needle valve, otherwise it's still gonna run rich or lean one way or the other.
Oh yeah, you still have your tank. Yeah.
Well, that's why if you got to center your tank, but with the plastic one and the movable piece of tubing in there, it recenters.
Yeah, the Uniflow is movable.
The Uniflow is movable, and you can move it up or down.
Yeah.
The tank believes it's going up or down.
JP says in a metal tank, it's called a clank tank.
Right. I mean, I guess there's more than one way to skin a cat, man. And guys,
I'll tell you what, it only takes a minute. Try one. And then if it don't work, you can tell me, Steve, you're all wrong. I mean, me and Dick, we played with this shit and played with this shit.
Yeah.
I got a special ass. I'll go get it. I'm going to show you this tank, trying to come up with fixing the deal on Vector. Hold on. I'll go get it.
Because on the full body planes, I still use steel tanks. Profiles, I use all plastic.
yeah.
Okay.
And I mill the motor mounts down behind the firewall so I can drop the tank a 1/4 inch into the motor mounts. So I make the tank so I can raise it up and down, a steel tank in a full body.
Okay. What I'm
You got to raise the engine or lower the tank when you build it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, between the SB screwing with me and Sam crashing at Joe Knoll, I was a busy guy, and I probably was pissed off a couple of times because, I was repairing airplanes. I mean, I wasn't getting mad at Sam and yelling at him, but I was frustrated that he kept crashing, and I had to fix his stuff, and then I was dealing with the gremlins in my And then of course, Dave and Derek and Randy were all helping me, but then I got 10 other guys coming up telling me what the fix was. I was like,
Yeah, everybody's Randy. Listen to him; he knows what he's talking about.
That's kind of where I was thinking.
Yeah.
Here's the tank right there.
Okay, present that, Randy.
Yeah, trying to. Hang on, I got some. Cancel. Steve. Gotcha.
Let me click on my.
All right. There you go. You presented.
So it's tapered to get that back there. Plus, it sets here on the rails, and that much sticks down. Trying to get the tank lowered on wooden beams, and it's just a pain in the ass on some of these airplanes.
Yep.
That's why the plastic tank works so good. It works so easy. once it's set, you never have to mess with it. And I mean, then you got to dig out. This was you had to dig out all the wood down between the wood motor mounts. I mean, I'll give, that was given to me by Randy Ryan, and it's just a pain in the ass when these airplanes act like that. The only other thing we found was that 2 years ago, me and Dick went and made a different Venturi and made it smaller so it drew harder on your upright, and it helped on the inverted. But a spigot does the same thing. You put a spigot in there and it makes it draw harder. And I did that on a shit, I'm trying to think, a Rojet 76, because that was Brett Buck's deal.
So you're not running a sprinkler, you're just going in through the side of Venturi and
No, it's still a sprinkler, but you take the eyelets. You buy the SIG has these really small eyelets, and you drill a hole and you just push the damn eyelet inside that hole, and it sticks out, I think, 1/8 of an inch. And that worked on that one. But Brett Buck and David Fitzgerald run them on theirs. They call them a spigot.
okay.
But that's not for that, Steve. The idea of changing the Venturi size is just simply to change the maximum RPM you're more can achieve. The bigger the Venturi, the more high RPM, and you have the smaller the Venturi, the less maximum RPM you're gonna have. So it's like on a car body throttle. The more air you give it, the faster it's gonna run.
I understand that, but they're not. They're still keeping the same size diameter. They're not putting that spigot in to change the volume of that Venturi. It will a little bit, but you can go with the bigger Venturi if you want more volume.
Okay.
Spigot, the air runs across it and it sucks it in better. It doesn't dribble it down the side of that Venturi.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
When you're going inverted, it's pushing all that fuel on the side of the Venturi. When you're going the other way, what makes it rich is that there's no drag on that fuel. It just falls into that hole. One way it pushes it against it. So they put that spigot in there to keep that fuel from dragging down the side on your right side maneuvers, I guess.
Okay.
But that's I don't think that's exactly correct, because if you look at the airflow inside a tube, for example, around on the walls it's very low speed. At the center has maximum speed, which means you have lower pressure in the center and higher pressure on the side, and the fuel will move from the high pressure to the low pressure. Because it's just being sucked towards the lower pressure. The air always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So whether you put the spigot in the center or on the other side, is going to still be dragged towards the center anyways.
Right, but you get rid of friction, because
doesn't matter.
Besides having suction, you got the force of that fuel being thrown towards the Venturi.
It's not thrown towards the Venturi, it's thrown towards the center of the Venturi. It's sucked in the center of the Venturi, regardless where it comes from. If you feed it from the center into the center of the Venturi, the only thing I see that has merit from what you're saying is that because you have the spigot in there, it's already in a low pressure, it's gonna draw the fuel a little bit better. Versus on the outside, where it has to go from the outside towards the center of the Venturi.
What they found is true Venturis, to where you had little holes all the way around it, you didn't have that problem. On that kind of Venturi, where it's only coming out of the one side, when you do the maneuver, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't do it. But God got involved and said, okay, on the insides with these kind of Venturis, it's not going to work good.
God did it.
God did it. You know, how it's supposed to work, physics and all this shit. But what it is, it doesn't. I'm telling you, when you put the spigot in there, you know, David Fitzgerald, Brett Buck, they all do it. They came up with it because everyone had the same problem. This is like a new problem Mike's had. You know, everybody's had it.
Yeah.
I thought the PAs have a ring around the Venturi has several holes
Just one.
drilled around.
Just one.
Just one? Oh, okay.
The old Super Tigers now had the full Venturi. I think they had 4 holes. So no matter, it would suck it more evenly.
Okay.
And, you know.
I like having it sucked more evenly. That's for sure. I'd like to have it sucked
All
more.
about that. I was young once. I was young once too.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
behave, Mike.
That's important. Hey, we're talking about Venturis here, man. I don't know where your mind is going. I want to bring up one other thing. Somebody else gave me another suggestion too. The original tank I had in the yellow SV, you know, I took it out because I wasn't getting long enough run time.
Right.
But it was running right. Somebody told me just to take a 1 ounce perfect tank and put a bubble on it. Man. Just put a hopper to hold another ounce of fuel. If I can, and it doesn't matter where it is on the tank, wherever I can put it to squeeze it in there, because it's all going to go back to the corner where the pickup and the uniflow is anyway. So I may do that. I may put a blister on there, you know.
Well, throw that.
That'd be a fix.
Well, I'll tell you what. You have a brand new tank there that's 7.5 ounces. If it's made for an SV, it'll fit right in that airplane you got. Throw it in there, see how it runs.
Well, no, that's for my ARF, man. I'm gonna take this tank apart and see I want to do the things I was told to do by the gurus. I can't just not do that. They told me to do it. I got to do it and then see, because I want to see what's going on in there too, you know.
Well, you can still see what I'm saying is, if you put a brand new tank in and test it, it fits right in there because all that type of tank are all the same. Put it in there, test it, and your problem goes away. You know automatically it's that tank.
Yeah, but you want to learn something in the process too.
I do. I want to open that tank because I've been working on my soldering skills anyway. Thank you, Sam. I've been soldering a lot of chicken hopper uniflow tanks, taking them apart and getting dents out of them and repairing holes. So I want to work on my soldering skills more. So I don't mind pulling that tank apart and seeing what's going on there. Thank God that guy from Bill's Hobby Shop, the hippie fan guy, was there because Sam, we're running a haze tank on his rugged stunt trainer, and he crashed it, right? And I repaired the airplane, and that morning I was like, I better start this engine and just make sure everything's good. I went to start it, couldn't get it to go. I looked at the damn clunk tank that was on there. Well, the damn clunk fell off the silicone tube, and I couldn't get it back out of the hole. And I'm like, shit, now what do I do? Well, the Bill's Hobby Shop hippie van guy was there, and he had a 3 ounce GRS chicken hopper tank for $8. So I bought that and threw it on Sam's plane, and he was able to fly that in PA on Saturday. And of course, when he crashed it, what did it do? It hit the motor and a big hole in the front of the tank. So I get to take that one apart and bend it and solder it a little bit.
That was a good little hobby shop that dude had.
He had a great hobby shop, man. His prices on his kits, Steve and Dick, he had his prices on Skyrays were $38. His twisters were $39.
Damn.
You couldn't even buy them from SIG for that.
Yeah, and it was well organized. Everything was marked.
They're like
it was a good shop.
Or $54 from SIG right now. He liked to say, I have 1990s prices. Even his Brodak kits were like $20 cheaper than what Brodak sells them for today.
He doesn't charge shipping if you call him for something either.
Yeah, he had everything. Dick, he had the OS the OS needles, $13 a piece, man.
How many did you buy?
I didn't buy any because I bought like 10 of them from RC Japan.
Yeah, he was out of everything bigger than 15 when I got by there.
But yeah, his kit prices were cheap. He had his spinner prices were cheap. His props were cheap. It literally was like a time machine. He prided himself on the fact that his prices were 1990 prices.
Yeah.
He wasn't kidding. He had Golden State model kits. You know, he even had some Brodak ARFs that were $20 or $30 cheaper than what they are now.
He was well organized. He had racks and racks of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handles. He's selling Tom Dixon handles, the Raycos, for like $16.50, man.
Oh.
You know, and Tom's selling those for 25 at when
Yeah.
he's contest.
Yeah.
I got a couple of his cards. I'm gonna call him if I need anything, because he does not charge shipping.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
He'll talk. He's a talker, boy.
Yeah.
I was eating with Alexander the evening before the contest, and he was around us over there. I said, "You hungry? You want to grab a sandwich?" I said, No, that doesn't match my stomach or something like that." He didn't want it.
He was a good guy though. He came up when Bill was serving lunch and helped keep everything organized, neat, clean, you know, and he helped Holly and Will get lunch on the table. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, Tryon, you kind of grossed me out when you offered me a butter, mayonnaise, and tomato sandwich. Like, come on up. We've got bread and butter and mayonnaise and tomatoes for sandwiches. I was like,
No.
My mom eats them. I've never tried one. My mom eats them.
That sounds like a good combination out in the hot sun.
We don't do tomatoes in our house. My kids don't eat them. I don't eat them. My wife doesn't eat them. We eat them in stuff, you know, salsa and spaghetti. But like tomato sandwich, that's
whatever.
Tomato is the fruit of the devil's anus, man. That's what we say around.
Whatever.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is one of them tanks that I made up. So this just goes back to a clunk.
Hold it higher. There you go.
This one goes back to a clunk about half an inch from the back of the tank.
Mm-hmm.
The one with the arm just goes straight in and hits the wall here. Barely scrapes the wall. You can turn it up and down.
That changes. That's like changing the height there.
Just like changing the height. This one just goes to the top of the tank for vent.
In the front or the back? Where's the vent? In the front or the back?
That's up the top of the front. You could put it in the back. It don't. But since they set nose high, I keep it up towards the front.
Okay.
If it was a real level set in airplane, it doesn't matter. But I mean, it's so simple. It worked so good. It takes all the damn screwing with them, and I'm gonna take my tank apart and check it and all this kind of stuff. I mean, if it's a little too rich, on one way or the other, just move that up or down. It's that simple. Or move it back. But where you get it where you want it, I mark the tank just in case you bump it. But on a full fuse, you're not in there. Nothing can bump it. So once you have it set, it's there. It never changes. And
is that a Dubro square tank? That black cap looks like a Dubro.
Yeah, I think it is the Dubro. And I just
like it.
The little mounting things.
Yeah, that's a Dubro.
Dubro, yeah.
Took some aluminum and bent it around and mounted it on there. I started out with everything level and the tank at the height of the Venturi, how you normally set a tank. And this one here, we had to move it, I think, higher.
Yeah.
Had to move the tank a little higher, but yeah,
Pretty common.
but they work so fantastic. And I wish I knew who showed me this there at Brodak, but it's so simple. You can put a tank together in 5 minutes. And the longest thing is to solder that little arm on there. So you have something to move.
Yeah.
Now that was the arm was my idea. The guy showed me that had it. Said, "Oh, just grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers and move it."
Yeah, that's what I do. I just twist it.
This thing and
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you my. I had a picture up earlier, and here's what I do with glunk tanks. And I gave up trying to make them uniflow. I just make them look like this. And the only thing that's wrong, that bump is not right there at the top. That bump's on this middle side right here. But I'm out at with the wide side against the fuselage. And these two vents, I just put pressure to one and use the other for fill overflow. One's the same as the other. And that always works fine for me. It sucks every bit of gas out, shuts off with almost no warning and no real uniflow. I do put muffler pressure to it.
that's the Doug Moon type deal.
Yeah, it only works on muffler pressure.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that as the tank loses volume, the pressure increases because of the square inches of the muffler pressure on it. So the whole tank has the same pressure throughout the run.
Yeah.
I tried it and I couldn't get a good run with it.
The only time you'll have a problem with it is if you fill it lipping full all the way to the top and there's not enough overhead for the muffler pressure and the fuel head. So when it drops, then you'll have a change. But if you got a little overhead where there's an air gap, then it runs great all the way through the run.
Yeah.
I've been just using.
I tried with the FP40, and no matter what tank I ran, the damn thing would run away and not run good until Dick hemmied the head and did some work on it. Then it ran okay. So I can't say for sure how that tank would really work on a motor that ran decent. Because no matter what we tried FP40, that thing it'd be flying along and it'd get hot or get something, boy, and it'd just take off and just run wild.
What pitch prop are you running?
Shit, I don't know. We've tried 10.6s and
No, you see, you need a low pitch prop. Low pitch prop in an LA 25 Venturi. You got to small down the Venturi and a low pitch prop. It'll run great.
yeah,
You don't have to butcher them up. I found that out just this year. I used to have them butchered up too. But then I found out this system Randy Smith told me about. They work great. You don't have to cut them up at all.
Hey, Al.
Hey, Al.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Like, I see you guys seen on Facebook that Samantha got her looks and her brains from me.
That's awesome.
She's got one so far because I show her them all the time. All my
What you got there, Trey?
the dean's list. So I got 4 of them. So she's got 3 more to get yet to catch.
Oh,
What
Well,
you got there, Trey?
right.
This is the plane I'm building for Alexander. This is actually a twister, and I changed the rudder and the turtle deck here. Other than that, it's a twister. I think I showed you how I made the nose here a while ago. So I think I'm gonna put the axle on it. Electric, should be bulletproof, should run perfectly every time we go out and fly. No messing around with it. But just a plain
Yeah, looks
twister.
like a good tough plane.
Yeah.
And I like that you took all of the I like that you took all of the ugly twister stuff off and
Yeah.
reshaped it to look sleek.
That's gonna look more like Dad's airplane.
So
We
what
were
I did here.
planes with Bob Hunt one night, and the twister is a good candidate to try fences on the end of the wingtip.
Okay. So what I did inside here, I put a different bell crank. Instead of having the 1 inch, I think it's 3/4 of an inch. It's a little bit slower bell crank. So even if he pushes it hard enough, maybe he's not going to stall so much. And I did put some adjustable lead outs on it.
Yep.
Another thing I did, I added this shear webs in here. You see the shear webs?
That's the way I did my twister too.
Yeah, because I think if he doesn't have it over there, the wing is gonna do a lot of this in a
Yeah.
flight.
I put them in the gap on the trail edge too.
Yeah,
I don't think you need it over there, but here you need it for sure.
the way they show it set up in there, they have more travel. You got enough travel in the flaps and elevator on a normal twister than you need on two airplanes. I mean, that's always the thing. They're always so touchy.
Mhm.
And we end up sticking bigger horns on them to try to slow them down.
It doesn't matter. Just put a different handle with a small
Yeah.
spacing.
Put
My
a small
twister's
thing.
all right. I mean, my twister's pretty stable, but
Yeah.
I was thinking in retrospect, maybe I would have made the flaps a little shorter, or maybe I could have put fences on the wingtips. But other than that, it's a great flying plane and it's a superb trainer.
Yeah, that's why I
And
picked it up. I had a kid in the house, so I said I'm gonna start to build it for him, and I think this is gonna make a perfect first plane.
Do you have an Axie, or are you going to buy an Axie?
I had an Axie. I want to put it on the Revolutions, but because Revolutions was so tail heavy at the time, we decided to pawn the idea and go straight to the Joker motor, which was much heavier motor to balance it out. So I still have that Axie on hand, which is the Igor Berger Axie, anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
It'll-
I'm gonna run it on a two blade, perhaps 10.5, 6, or 11.6.
Okay. Yeah, because I know with Samantha's airplane, that motor runs so hot.
Hmm.
Put an engine on it. Teach them how to start an engine.
Why?
Why?
something every child ought to know how to do is crank a greasy old smoky hot engine.
Yeah. You hit a
We
button
can
and
get a
go.
thumb like this, so we can get a knuckle like that, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you made some noise when you got that, Mark. I saw it happen.
That was my half A, Al. My half
Oh,
A.
you're getting ready for a Brodak again. You're warming up.
Yeah, that was 30,000 RPMs of AME that put that on his knuckle.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's the backside. But Al, I got to start over, buddy.
uh-oh. What happened?
Oh, no.
I got half an airplane here.
What, I can't. I got to click on you. Wait, let me.
No, you don't. No, I got you.
Oh, you got. Oh, the fuselage.
That's nothing.
Hey. You know what you can do? Do like a combat plane. Get an arrow shaft and stick it in there.
Well, the problem was, I told you all I flew it well the last time I flew it, but then I was wind flying it after it quit, and
Yeah.
it crashed, and I had to repair it. It did a little damage to the motor mount and the wing split, so I threw a bunch of epoxy on it and fixed it. I went to fly it at Triple Tree. I never bothered to rebalance the airplane, and it was tail heavy like crazy. And when it came out of the reverse wing over, it just went all nuts on me, and I ended up crashing the thing.
Oh wow.
It's not going to handle another repair because it'll end up being 15 or 16 ounces. So
Yeah.
there'll be a new one built before Brodak's.
Okay. Well, then at least you know what to make a little adjustments.
What's that?
I said you can adjust your design a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the next one's going to be lighter. I'm going to shoot for like 10 or 11 ounces on the next one. I won't build as long of a fuse and as big of a fuse. It'll have a carbon fiber shaft, just skinned by light balsa. Moments they're going to be a little shorter and a little better. And I think I'm going to chop down the wingspan just a hair too. So that's got to happen in the next, I guess, 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm building mine tomorrow. I'm back at it again tomorrow. My vision's back, so
Yeah, I'll probably maiden mine at Brodak's. So
yeah.
I mean, half A's not till Friday or Thursday.
Hey, Al, we had Doran convinced to build that twister for low until this contest when Mike was losing his mind about bad engine runs, and now Doran's back to electric.
Sorry.
Well, he must have had a pretty decent engine run to get a 490 some score with that PA.
Is that what I got? I don't remember.
I saw you scored pretty good.
490 something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you must have had a hell of an engine run.
Yeah.
He said he got it better after how many days of working on it?
Yeah, three straight days.
Well,
I'm chasing Ron Waldron this summer, man. That's the deal. He beat me at Huntersville. He beat me at Triple Tree, and he'll be at Rodax. So, well, there'll be a lot more guys in advanced at Rodax.
Yeah.
For the last two contests, I've been chasing Ron Waldron. So
yeah, well, advanced at Brodak is I think the most most competitors in that class.
okay.
Out of all the other classes,
Yeah.
advanced is it goes on for a long time.
Well, Will Davis said he's doing a thing in expert. He's going to run a triple crown for expert. If you win Huntersville, Joe Nall, and Brodax, you get a special trophy if you win all three in expert. But it can't happen this year because Dave Fitzgerald won at Joe Nall, so there can't be a triple crown winner because there was another winner at Huntersville in expert. But he said he may start doing one for advanced,
Right.
triple crown for advanced.
Okay.
Just another little side trophy or whatever. If you win,
That's a pretty tall order.
it is a tall order. Yeah. It's hard enough to win any one of them.
It's hard enough to win one of them.
Let alone all three. Yeah, for sure.
Has anybody heard how John Brodak's doing?
I heard
actually run next year.
Yeah, I heard a couple weeks ago that he finally made it to the shop or the airplane in his office. He's got an office over there,
Right.
and he finally made it. It's the first time he made it since he got so sick. But that was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So I haven't heard if he's making it daily now or not. But he finally made it there one time. But that was the first time anyone, at the airplane factory there had seen him since, last year.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan's got the paper off. Let's see. Hold it up again, Ryan.
That looks really nice.
Pretty slick. Yeah, I like the shape now with the turtle deck and the tapered canopy instead of that big old bumpy thing with the stuck up rudder. That's good looking.
Looks like a Pathfinder now.
But it looks like his airplane.
It does look kind of like a Pathfinder, but not quite forward canopy on it.
That's the same tail and canopy off of your airplane, isn't it? Basically.
Close enough.
Close enough, yeah. That's what I thought.
Very sleek. Looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. It's nice how you have the canopy back and
the stock Twister's got a canopy that looks like a tumor.
Yeah.
Alex wants it in green color.
He wants it in green and black?
Yeah, he wants green color on this one with white stripes on it, so we kind of mask some of his stuff. We're gonna mask the canopy and just shoot the rest with green.
Like a mint green might look pretty good with some.
We have a nice fluorescent green,
like a 72 Chevelle SS green.
Yeah, we have.
I got some candy.
Oh, you the man! Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's only $500 Canadian.
Oh yeah, okay. You're the best. Probably will be.
500 Canadian at Prodax. You can have them.
So those are Nelson's?
PA.
Oh, they're PA? Well, same thing.
Yeah, Randy doesn't ship to Canada, so Len asked if I could pick a couple up for him.
Oh man,
bring it up, Kenny.
You gotta bring me a 6-pack of kokanee, man.
6-pack of what?
Kokanee.
Kokanee. All right.
Can't get it in the States, man.
I'll see what I can do.
You know kokanee, right? It's got the polar bear on it. It's the white and blue can with the polar bear.
All right.
You don't know kokanee? You don't drink
$100 in pennies.
You have no idea how important those needles are to me. I have 2K77s, and I got no needles for them.
Oh, the price just went up.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
sure.
Steve,
Double.
Sparky's got your Cox engine, by the way.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Rusty.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries, man. $40 US.
No problem.
That Cox TV's got a little
What's
catch at top dead center. It's like it's a real tight pinch, but I think I wouldn't even take it apart and look. I just flip it over and run it once. It'll probably loosen it right up.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, where did Mike go? Those are the ones that have the plastic underneath the cap. Those needles.
Yeah, I think, what did he say it is under there? It's
And the nylon.
Like a nylon.
Nylon foam.
nylon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are Henry Nelson. Henry Nelson makes those.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, Randy, that I learned anyway, that he told me, he says, you know, when you close those to find out where they sit, and I'll do it to Lens here. He said, man, you just spin them with your finger till they stop, and don't. He said a lot of guys crank on them a quarter.
Oh, don't do that.
And then the needle hits the brass inside, and it ruins it.
It wrecks them.
It wrecks.
It's the same with the Rojet ones.
He
But
said,
Same thing.
you know, you just go until it stops, finger tight. You don't want to do this to them.
Yeah.
You don't want to be cranking on it.
But a lot of times, you know, those I have trouble once you get the needle in, then you can't get the cap on. And then if you get the cap on, you can't get the needle in.
No, you got to get it just right. I know.
Yeah, they're
Well,
and then
what I typically do,
sometimes I had to heat them up with the heat gun to get the cap on, you know.
I leave the cap loose and I screw the needle in until it stops.
Yeah.
And then I'll back the needle out like 5 turns, 5 or
That's
6.
right.
The starting
And then
point,
put the cap on.
and then put the cap on and lock
Right
it.
on.
That's kind of where your range is going to be. Because
Exactly.
if you tighten the cap down, you got the needle closed, you back it out, it's still going to be loose, and you got to turn the cap more.
Well,
That's what screws it up.
It does. I think
then
you
with
put
the-
the needle where the kind of close to where it's going to run. Then,
Yeah, 3 or 4 turns out, it's perfect, and then put the cap on.
yeah.
Right. But
Just
then,
to snug it up.
after you run them and the engine's hot, then you gotta tighten up that cap again.
Of course.
You know, to squeeze it in, but
It's a little bit of skiing to get it where you want it. And then once you get it set, you basically never touch your needle anyway.
but they're like my favorite needles. I mean, even if you muscle that cap as hard as you can still turn the needle. You know, that's
That's
they
good.
still move. But you can move it, but it won't move on you in the air. Because I use all those in racing planes and all kinds of racing engines, and you know, they don't move. You know, fast planes, you know, planes that going over 100 miles an hour. You know, when you use like the Super Tiger ones, sometimes you tighten it up, then you can't move the needle, then you back it off a little bit, then the needle's too loose. You know, it's a fine line, you know, sometimes on those. But yeah, I use those with the bladder. They're a fine thread.
So Al, I gave Bob Whitney was there.
Okay.
I gave him an LA 15. He's going to put on a clown racer for Sam at Pro. And then we're going to practice some racing stuff and
Nice.
some of the half A stuff for the Nats.
Yeah.
Give Sam planes to fly at the Nats.
Okay.
He said between now and then I need to drive a pole in the ground. He said just take a broomstick and shove it in the ground when we go fly and have Sam hold on to the broomstick, even if we're just flying stunt or whatever he's flying.
Yeah.
Onto the pole, take off his plane, go around the pole, and then just put his hand on top of the broomstick just to get him used to the, you know,
Staying in tight.
getting into the pylon.
Oh.
So we'll practice that a little bit. Not for clown racing. I'm talking about for half A proto, half A speed.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
For that.
I was going to say but yeah, that'd be cool. You know, I'd help you guys out with them if you want, you know, flying and stuff, and you know, teaching them, you know, inside the circle if you want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We worked on the other thing Bob said was him whipping the airplane, getting it to the pit man. So when he was flying on Friday, every time the airplane quit, I was having him. I'm like, run, whip it, get it back, bring it back to me, And he was doing it. He was backing up and running and swinging the plane and trying to drag it a little bit.
Yeah, no,
I wanted to learn to do that anyway with the stunt planes because I'm
right.
tired of them landing on the other side of the flipping circle all the time.
It's important at Brodak too, to pull it, get the plane up in the air and, be careful. I hope they get the grass cut short because, the lines catch the grass and the plane comes in and chases them and stuff like that. Always keep tension. Like a lot of stunt flyers, let the plane take off and then follow the plane. With racing, you got to lead the plane.
You got
Lead
to,
the plane off, you know.
yeah, you almost,
Sort of like you fly your Dynajet,
Yeah, you got to be in front
You
of
got to
it.
be ahead of
Got to
it.
be ahead of it.
Yeah,
That's where I'm lucky with the jet because I'm left-handed. So I don't really have to do much. I just kind of swing my arm and back up.
right.
It automatically leads the plane and pulls it. I think it's a disadvantage for right-handed guys because you do got to get in front of it and kind of run.
Right.
And
And then
being a lefty, all I got to do is move my arm over here, and I'm already whipping the plane.
then if you have guys in his circle, he has to be able to, watch out to keep the plane lines high enough to keep it off the grass, but then be aware of other pilots coming by. If he comes up, he gathers them, but he'll be pretty low. But
Yeah, well, he's a good
pull the
listener.
plane up on takeoff.
He'll take direction pretty well, I think.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of guys take off at Brodak. They go straight up.
Straight up.
Everybody comes around and great, wraps them up. You ever see when they used to fly 4F? Oh,
We've
man,
seen it.
it was unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
The advantage you have if you end up racing him is you're an adult and he's a kid. If you just yell at him, you'll scare him into doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, just give him direction. He listens. He's a good kid. I can see that.
Mike, what you're going to find out is it's not going to be him. He'll do everything right. It's going to be the other people racing, the older guys that crash the kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they'll blame it on the kid.
2 years in a row. I mean, we've had guys take off and come up and cut Samantha's airplane in half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and then another one ran out of fuel and crossed her lines.
Oh, it's all over.
It was just great. It's like, oh my God, the kid can outfly the other guys trying to do it.
Yeah, being a combat flyer and flying racing at Brodak, that's an advantage.
Okay.
You know how to look for the other plane.
Yeah. Bob said he's got a little help for him too in the half A proto. He said the plane he's going to be flying has a left-handed crank, so that's going to help give him some line tension right off the bat.
So he's going to fly that at Brodak?
I'm sorry, at the Nats.
Oh,
He's
okay.
going to fly half A proto, half A speed with the same airplane.
Okay.
And then he'll
cool.
fly house racing with another airplane that Bob has set up for him.
Yeah.
I gave him the LA-15 so that he could do 15 clown at Brodax with working with him.
Yeah.
Bob's going to slide the airplane in the tank and do whatever he has to do to the engine to make it.
I mean, you guys can fly the half A proto up where we fly Turkey, but there's no pylon just for him to get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mike, if you can have somebody make up one of them U things for speed, so he gets used to putting his hand in it.
Well, that's why we're gonna. I mean, that's what Bob said. He said just saw off a broomstick and pound it in the ground and have him have his hand on it every time we fly from now on. Have him hold that. And just when he takes off, move over and put his hand on top of the broomstick to simulate hitting the yoke. I mean, we don't have a pylon or a speed circle or a yoke for him to do that. But Bob said just jam a tent pole in the ground, something that he can put his left hand on, and then swing his right arm over to and do this, just so the mechanic doing it.
He gets used to walking around the pole.
You're gonna,
and walking around the pole while he flies. That's
want a U on it. Whatever you make up, put that U in there. Because what it is that when he puts his hand in it, he's got to come down into that.
Oh, up and over.
Not across and set it. I tried to talk my brother into making one up. He's going to do it. He never did. He goes out and practice. He goes out there with his 21 Proto. This thing is hauling ass. He goes in there when his hand come in. All he did was just bump it. The plane said whack. Took out.
That's exactly what I did.
Propeller. The propeller started shredding. I'm in the circle, covering up. Hit me. All of a sudden, it shook the whole plane apart. The engine lands, burns up the motor. It burned a hole in the piston, all because he wasn't used to, and he doesn't have one, and you can practice that. Go slow, bring that in, and just barely touch it. I mean, it's an art. And if you don't, you get all excited and you go wham, and you hit it, and your airplane goes crack. It's that quick.
That's exactly what I did the time I tried to fly sport jet at the Nats 2 years ago. My one and only attempt at flying sport jet, and I had never ever put my hand in the
too hard. Yep.
I took off. I got the airplane in the air, and when I was trying to put my hand in the yoke, I skipped the airplane and killed the engine.
Yep. And I tell you, that's the thing. My brother ruined that brand new plane. All the time we put in it, did all kinds of machining on it and everything.
Well, I didn't break the plane. My jet just quit, and I was talked into flying that event, and I was like, okay, what the hell? $10, I'll try it.
Well, it didn't bust my brother's airplane. It chipped that propeller, and that propeller went out of balance, and it shook the air. It shook so hard it cracked the pan. The motor was in it. It was rocking so hard in there. It put a crack in that magnesium. It just the wings fell off of it. One wing fell off just before it landed. I had red Loctite. I put that airplane together, and I know that I put red Loctite on every single one of them screws, and it vibrated out red Loctite out of that airplane. It ruined the whole airplane, the motor, everything. But it all was from hitting in that yoke.
Well, we'll do the best we can to get him trained up. You know, like I said, Bob Whitney is offering up the airplanes and the training, and hopefully Sam's a good listener and he follows directions and he doesn't tear up Bob's stuff. You know, but we won't know till we try.
And Bob has really fast stuff. You know, like you made up a broomstick and put a U in it, so he knows to come over the top and putting his hand in, because that's like I told my brother, take a stunt plane and practice that move.
Okay.
I think
Bob said the Half-A Proto is on 48-foot lines. Is that right, Al?
On a what? On 42?
48 for
Oh,
half.
48. Yeah. Honestly, I don't fly that, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
We don't really do speed. The only speed we do the Fox speed and the Turkey speed, and that's not a pylon event. That's just
No, but the biggest thing is with him learning, and I tried to talk my brother, use the stunt plane, something slow, get that motion where you're whipping that airplane, it goes into speed, and now you got to come over there and get that, so they start timing you. And he wouldn't do it, and he lost an airplane, and he does better with Half-A, but even that, he got that airplane a lot of whack, and it cost him in the,
I appreciate the advice, Steve, and we'll get him working. We're definitely going to do what Bob said and have him on the pole and moving his hand over. I can see where that takeoff is kind of a ballet. You know, there's a little dance that has to happen, and you got to do it the same way every time. Hopefully he doesn't trip over his flipping feet and fall down. You know?
He's got to run around that pool, but the thing is that he'll win because no other juniors. So I don't
care about that so much as just that we got an off day. You know, we got 2 days off where we're not doing anything. And if he gets a chance to fly another event, I don't care about him winning. It's just, you know, 2 or 3 days off days of not competing at the Nats is pretty boring. You can only practice so much stuff
Well,
while you're
I
there.
tell you, know what I did with my son when I went to the Nats, Mike? We went to Indy and we took a tour of the Indianapolis Speedway.
Oh, really?
It's not that far away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you might want to think about that because they have a tour and a museum and stuff like that. And then you go on the tour bus, you get outside, you can kiss the bricks, and take pictures and stuff like that.
Oh,
Pretty cool.
that sounds interesting, Al.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's pretty cool. Like my son wasn't really interested in planes that much, but when I took him out, to the speedway, he loved it. We got in the bus, we rode around the track. We got in. They had the old press boxes from the 70s and the 80s before cell phones and computers, and you got to stand in the winner's circle and take a picture. And then you go to we went into the museum, the cars and all that stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of that. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
That was just like at Brodak, Samantha and I, when we have a day off, she wasn't flying.
Right.
We went to antique stores and went to a museum and all kinds of stuff to have fun on her off day and not flying.
And then one year I went to the Henry shop and I picked up some stuff from him and went over there to visit him at his shop. His shop's not that far away.
Yeah, I mean,
Steve, did you happen to get over to Detroit this weekend for the combat stuff?
no.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
I didn't. My back was hurting so bad I didn't even go Saturday to Tour de Michigan.
I didn't make it either.
Yeah.
I didn't make it either.
Yeah, I bailed on Hershey Combat Sunday. I was just too tired from lugging stuff around and staying out till late Friday and Saturday.
I saw the McKenzie brothers were there, Len. I saw
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures, and I talked to Ronnie and Mark and Paul today. They had a pretty good turnout. They flew everything. They flew
Oh, that's good.
half A, speed limit, fast, slow, real slow, F2D fast. They flew it all.
Well, I talked to Brad last week, and we just haven't been able to get out on the field at all. Just been so wet and mucky here. It's just awful. No flying, just nothing.
Yeah.
It never stops raining. It's like it just rains.
Yeah.
That's
Al,
the same thing here.
Al, did you say your back hurts from, or you were tired from lugging around stage equipment? Is that what I heard?
Oh man, I did up and down the steps, and you got 5 minutes to tear down, take all the stuff, pulling off.
Are you her roadie?
Yeah, that's exactly right. One of them, yeah, the main one.
And her video man, right?
Yeah. I set up 3 cameras, a GoPro in the front, and all that stuff. She does all her own editing on that video. She's doing really well.
Well, you did an excellent job on the video and her performance.
Yeah, she did all the editing. I just gave her the raw material and downloaded the files.
Yeah.
But it's just set up. I have a GoPro, and I have used an iPhone. The audio is from an iPhone. I video with an iPhone, and I have an HD camera. And then plus we had one other guy taking video with a regular camera. That's the one that's walking around.
Well, I hope you get your shout out on the Grammys one day when she wins a Grammy.
Yeah, well, I'd just be happy if she, gets, officially nominated for the Grammy. But
Yeah, she'll say, "Thanks, Mom," and thanks to the crew.
Yeah, she said, yeah, she shouted out to Mom, but not Dad. On the other. Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, we had a lot of fun.
I enjoyed watching it. It was fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, we did. We did Friday night too at down the shore, Jersey Shore, and that was pretty good. And some guy came up there and he's talking about having her at Mohegan Sun at in Connecticut. You know, the casino
Yeah,
on the main stage. So we're like, yes.
good.
Yeah, really. She's
Yeah, so we're-
still home.
what's that?
Is she still living at home?
I'm sorry, it's breaking up.
Is she still living at home?
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, she's still here.
Okay, so at least she can afford to do a lot of this stuff for low money and
She puts every penny in it. Every penny.
well, that's good.
Well,
Yeah, because it's a hard thing to do. I
oh,
mind that run bands and stuff like that, and they
and,
actually end up buying a bar and then playing
right.
at their own bar and made
Yeah.
more money doing that than they did
So yeah.
actually being on the road. But we
Yeah.
Yeah, the girls in the video are actually her, her students, the two girls.
oh, okay.
Yeah, she choreographed the dance, and those are her students.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Al, you don't happen to have a needle for a Larry Driscoll NVA, do you?
Let me see it again.
Well, that's a Larry Driscoll needle valve assembly for the
Is it-
Norvell.
It's a real fat one.
It's a what?
That real fat, the real thick one, the fat one.
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
Hey, hey, Al, he's getting $500 for PA needle valves.
Yeah, what do you?
I might have something that'll work for you. It'll work for you.
That'd be about what, a $700 needle then? Because he'll have cash. It'll be all Canadian money, but
Yeah, we can work a deal here.
Okay. Well, you can. Those. How about those Nelson needle valves that you have?
Yeah.
Aren't they the same thickness?
Probably 5 millimeter.
You know,
I think
I
they're-
don't know.
I think they're the same, and then they sell these little nylon sleeves that you can push it out and tighten it up.
Oh, okay.
At
That's
the hardware store.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got one more Norvell that has a suitable needle to run on a bladder. And if that's not the case, one of the Profis is going on there. So
I think would a 4 needle work?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Well,
That's what a 4 needle with a bushing. I'll look at it.
a 4 needle with bushing.
Well, is it going to be? It's going into the stock Norvell. Oh wait, it's not a Norvell. What is it?
It's an AME 9.
And it has the same kind of housing as you're putting it through that housing.
Yeah.
And does that housing have the groove in it? The notches, like like is the stock Norvell needle has like a bevel on it.
Yes.
Right. Well, see, I put a 4 needle in that, and I take a Dremel and I flatten that out so you can put a regular needle in it,
Okay.
and with a nylon bushing.
Okay.
But I'll bring something. I have like a 4 needle that'll work,
Okay.
and I'll look at the bushings, but you'll have to Dremel it
Yeah, I'll get something sorted out, I'm sure, for them.
because the one side is perfectly round. I mean flat. And the other side, it's beveled, and there's no flange, no flange on it because they put a bevel on the needle where normally it has a round flange on it that goes up against the housing.
Right.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
eBay, if you get under Enya engines, Shutterman there carries all kinds of Enya stuff. And he was carrying them little nylon washers to adjust needles. And Enya for 5 millimeter or whatever, so you can adjust these needles back and forth. And I had some, and I used them, and I don't know where they're at now, but they're real inexpensive. And that Shutterman had them on eBay along with.
what I was really doing was trying to talk Al out of a Larry Driscoll needle valve assembly because that's like unobtaining him stuff, man. I think Rusty,
That's
you got
a real try. I'll look at it. I think if I have one, I'll give it to you.
yeah.
But it's
$100 Canadian.
you still have to. It still won't fit, or you have to file the edge of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you got to file the hex off it so it'll go through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I do is I use the Andrew Nadine's needle valves, and I take a Dremel and the part where the flat spot is, I grind that away so you can put the needle on it flat.
Gotcha.
And then if you go to a hardware store, they got these little nylon bushings where you can space it out to get the hole in the center.
Get it centered. Okay. Yeah.
But what I used to do with the Driscoll needle valves, I used to take that housing off and then just drill out the venturi, the bathtub, and just run the spray bar straight through the bottom.
Right through the bottom. Okay.
That's how Roy Glenn did it. And then I saw him do it that way, and I did it the same way.
Okay. Yeah, because then you don't have to hack on the spray bar, on the hacks on the spray bar.
Right. But then the only problem is you got to drill out only a little hole in there if you want to ever go back to your spray bar.
Who does that? With combat guys, we drill on our shit all the time, man.
Yeah.
Because we're never changing them back to what they originally were.
Right. Well, mine, I was changing it back because now we're flying stunt with it. Well, I drilled that out. That's no good no more.
Yeah. I got another Profi coming.
Okay.
I'm getting some stuff from Lance Matassa's estate. Did you know Lance, Al?
No.
Do you know who he is?
Not really, no.
Okay, he's Arizona guy. He ran the March Madness in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix F2D stuff. He was part of that in the Mecca.
Okay, and I didn't change.
He passed away a few months ago, and Larry Davis is helping liquidate his stuff. Apparently, there's a lot of F2D equipment and a lot of F2D airplanes. And some half-A stuff and some fast stuff and some stunt stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Larry's going to list most of it on eBay. The engine stuff, the things he can ship. But unfortunately, the airplanes, I think, are just going to be up for local pickup.
Right.
Guys Larry doesn't want to deal with trying to ship 100 airplanes, because that's what the guy, like all of us, it would be like trying to ship everything that's in your house after you passed away. It's just,
oh God, forget it. My kids would just throw it all in a dumpster.
Yeah. Well, Larry's trying to help the family.
Yeah.
Raise some.
Got something to show us, Tryon?
Look at that.
Take a look. Tryon's got something to show us. There we go.
Where's the needle valve?
This is with the Axie motor.
Okay, yeah.
So if you see this on the back of the prop, is going to be just perfect. Drop in. This is the big Axie. This is for a 60 size motor, for a 60 size plane. So probably going to pull this with effortless.
Do you build in a little thrust off center,
yes.
And then you just to the side, or do you move down thrust too?
No, just on the side.
Side, about a degree.
About a couple of degrees, yeah. 1.5, 2, something like that.
How's it going to come out? You think it'll come out for balance with that bigger motor in there?
It's going to have a lighter battery, so it's probably going to be very similar to if you put a IC motor and a fuel tank in there. Kind of the same thing. And I have another motor that's lighter anyway, so I can go either way.
Yeah, I don't know how much battery it'll use.
Yeah, I'll probably want to use this big one, the big Axie on a 2-blade 11-inch lightweight prop was probably not going to use much of any energy. So, I think on a 4S probably I'm going to run it in I don't know. What do you run on your, Steve? What do you put in your batteries wise?
We were running the 6 cell on that same motor.
Mm-hmm.
It was using 82% of the battery at 2800.
On what prop?
Everybody else there was using way less battery than that Axie.
Mm-hmm.
the problem I had with the Axie, it ran so hot, I ended up having to I bought one of the spinners where air would go through, and I had to take the cowl. I had to do some work inside of it to direct air up to the bottom of the motor to get it. It just ran so hot.
Really?
Nobody else was having that problem with.
You're overexposed, trying.
Too much light, or
Yeah, too much light.
I don't know. It's like, where's a good spot for you?
Yeah,
to see it?
we're not doing too much.
No, still too much.
There, now she came back in. That's good.
Yeah, you see how much cooling I have here.
Right.
And this is the prop hub I'm gonna have. So I think this is gonna have plenty of cooling. Plus it's open on the sides.
Yeah.
It should be fine.
Is that a solid prop hub spinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got those.
Yeah, because that motor needs a lot of air for some reason or something, but
yeah.
I
Should
think
be fine.
it's so compact and small diameter wise that there's not a lot of room for air to flow through it.
I see.
You know, because I got the Cobra motor, and there's a lot more place for air to go through it than that Axie. A nice motor, but yeah, I don't know. Igor said that they normally run about 140 to 150 degrees. That was normal because I'm like, man, this thing is hot.
Yeah.
It's normal for that.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more I'm using on Revolutions, it's a Joker motor, and it's basically a 4250 equivalent of a Cobra. It's a 35 something, 35, 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you look at outside dimensions of the Cobra, you have 42 millimeter diameter with a 50-inch long. So it's pretty much equivalent. And after I run after I run the motor and I put the flight on, I can go inside and touch the motor immediately. It's no heat. I mean, it's barely warm to the touch. I mean, it's not burning anything.
Yeah, I was afraid that Samantha's motor was going to start throwing magnets. It didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, but Igor said that it would take that kind of heat. He goes, they're putting a lot of power into a small light electric motor. They're trying to keep the weight down and everything else. Still get the
Why
power.
don't they weld those magnets on?
They glue them. They glue them in.
Yeah, I was wondering why don't they weld them?
You heat a magnet, you lose its
Its magnetic properties. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Unless it's a rare earth that holds, but I don't know even if a rare earth if you did if it loses magnetism.
Well, they've just got such quick ways of spark weld, for lack of a better term, welding things together. I didn't know if they could pop it on fast enough without heating it up, but it just seems like that welding would be a better idea.
Yeah, but there are two things about the heat, right? First of all, it can kill the motor, it can kill something else, right? So if the motor can take the heat, it's fine. If it's designed to run at 200 degrees, fine.
Yeah.
No, it's just heat, right? But the second problem, which is the big problem, heat is lost energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the hotter the engine runs, the more energy you lose. So that means a bigger battery, which means you add weight to the system.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's counterproductive to go with these little bitty motors, even though they may be able to turn a prop.
Yeah, because you got to add, more energy, more heat to pull the heavier load. So you know.
And not only that, now you need a bigger ESC because it needs more amperage to put into that motor to spin that prop. That because it has a hard time. Now because you have more amperage draw to go into your motor, and then it means your battery needs to handle that and output the energy to get it to the motor so it can spin the prop. So the battery gets hot, the ESC gets hot, the wires get hot, the motor gets hot. Well, guess what? all these little bits add up, and then you lose energy. So
Oh.
it's almost always beneficial to oversize the motor.
I
Because
know I've asked this before, but I don't remember the answer. Is the motor speed controlled by varying pulse width or amplitude? Pulse width, right?
I don't know how they do it.
Oh, really?
I don't know how they see.
So I'm not sure, you know, how DC they have to be doing something with.
How many wires go to that motor from the ESC?
3.
Okay, so it's amplitude.
Oh,
Yeah, and they also flip flop the it does flip flop the polarity, the ghost of them.
one thing about that Axie motor is that if you turn, I've never turned over an electric motor that has more feel the magnets in it. So
Yes.
and it holds. There's not another motor out there that you can
You
feel.
feel it click around.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that has something to do with it using more power with the magnets, but man, they have some really good magnets in them.
Yeah.
So
Maybe maybe better tolerances where the
is that what it is?
the things are just closer to the magnets.
But yeah, I mean, when you flip it, it's like, holy cow, the magnets are like twice as strong as, or the tolerances are that much better that it feels like they're twice as strong.
Yeah. But I'm looking at my 4250, which is 25 grams heavier than the Axie, and it runs much cooler. It takes a lot less energy out of the battery.
Yeah, this might be fine with running, because we were running an 11 3-blade 5 pitch, and it was.
Oh, look, we got a new visitor. Comes old Gerald. He's been watching us all night on YouTube, I think.
Down under.
G'day, mate. What's happening?
Hello. Boys just got home from school, so I could. Hi. Al. Yeah, the boys just got home from school, so I can safely come on. And before I was sanding and sorting out parts for my Thunderbird and watching, as you say, Rusty, you guessed right.
Yeah, you posted a comment about 11 o'clock back there, and I never acknowledged it about your sons and Otto preferring IC engines as they're more fun and excitement, but prefer electric to scale where they want a clean model and reliability, especially on twins. I don't remember what we were talking about at the time, but it was relevant an hour ago.
Yeah, it's okay, because it's just that discussion you're having about helping people learn, and I just know with my two sons, they just love the motors, they like the excitement part of it, but they know that electric offers big advantages in many cases, and if they're going to build a scale model, they've both said, no, next time it's going to be electric, because Otto had a global model. He had his model at the Nationals in January, his Grumman Hellcat, and the throttle servo got oil in it and it stopped working, so he lost his throttle for the scale event, and he was annoyed. He just said, well, you had no trouble at all with your electric model at flying scale, and he said next time it's going to be electric.
Famous last words.
But,
for me, electric and diesel are in the same category. I like them both the same amount.
I like electric.
I just like diesel and I just like electric.
I like them fine on other people's planes.
Yeah, right. The diesel's good.
All right. For what it's worth, I found only 2 disadvantages with electric. Okay. Number 1, it requires a little bit of planning. Okay. If you know you're gonna fly a certain day, in the morning you just charge the batteries in the morning, so it requires just a little bit of planning. The second disadvantage, I think, is just that you have to take care of your batteries, which means put them in storage charge over the winter, and try to put them on a storage charge after when you're done flying.
Hey, Doran, don't take my disparagements against electric. Personally, I'm just bullshitting. I think electric.
No, I see guys use it and it works well. I just love engines. I love
Yeah.
engines.
Me too.
It's for everybody, whatever they like, you know.
Save the hobby, you know, so or
Yeah.
extend it. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that I'm not
I
off-handed
know,
or
I
disparaging electric.
can go inside an engine. I can go inside an engine and tickle it a little bit and make it run better. You know,
It makes me happy when I get my hands in there too. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, I think
I,
if
I
you're
you know,
motivated,
I like what I like about the electric is that it's just stupid easy to adjust,
Yeah.
and it's just bulletproof, consistent.
Yeah.
You don't worry about a thing, you know. You can be in outer space and still have the same engine run as you have it in, you know.
But
It's,
I flew 2 electric planes, and maybe they weren't the best examples, but I did not like the way they handled. They felt very heavy, heavy in the front, like delayed. When you gave it the control, it felt like it took
Yeah.
response time. It lagged, and then
Until recently, a lot of electric planes were retrofits, and now that they're designing more specifically for the electric platform, I think they fly and respond a lot better.
that's the good point right there, Rusty. That's an excellent point. Because anytime you retrofit a plane that's already built for IC, you have all that weight added in the nose that, you know, it's just unnecessary for electric. In electric, you can go with a 1/8 inch balsa wood outer shell and put a 1/64 doubler of plywood on the inside, and you're done. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that because you have no vibrations to talk about, to worry about. And so anytime that you do retrofit, I expect that to happen, right? But if you look side by side, you look at the IC system versus an electric system, for example, for a 60 size, if you add the components, you come up to about the same weight, okay? Maybe electric will be tiny bit heavier, but you're not talking even an ounce heavier, right? Now, but the thing is different. The IC has the heavy motor in the front and the fuel tank behind it, which is lighter. In electric, you have the light engine in the front and the battery, which is heavier, closer to the CG, right? So the weighted distribution should be different in electric. Electric, if you build for electric from the get-go, and you have a plane that's built for electric, which means it has a lightweight nose construction, stuff like that, and you have the light electric nose motor in the nose and the battery behind it, overall you have a better corner with it because the heavy components are closer to the CG and the light components are away from the CG.
You should feel lighter on the controls with an electric.
Yes. Yeah.
my experiences with my own electric.
I don't fly nothing. Well, I don't fly 60s or ball bearing 40s. I fly the LA 46, and that's like the biggest stunt engine I have. But it's and Brodak 40. So when I flew the electric, it felt really like heavy on the handle, heavy handle, like
It's more the model.
Fly mine when I get there to Brodak this year. One that's made for electric.
Yeah, I think that's the difference because the first electric stunter I made it perfectly for a can motor, and it was built very light because I had NiCad batteries and a can motor, and then when I updated it to a brushless motor and LiPo batteries, the performance was just so much better than all my glow motored models. It was a lot of fun to fly. It's still got there on the wall, but it's just a bit small to be competitive, and people are saying, "Oh, the wings are flexing. I've got so much power on it now. My wings are flexing as I'm going through the square maneuvers." So I build this new model.
But yeah,
I've got to for a second here. Rusty, is this Fred Brigman that comes to Huntersville?
Let me click on it and get a good look.
Flies intermediate at Huntersville?
Fred Brigman. I'd have to see him in dirty old clothes and a hat, but yeah, it might be.
This is a 2001 Stunt News, man. And he's the sport flying columnist for Stunt News. And
What were we talking about him the other night. I forgot what we were saying about him.
You wanted to know his name?
Yeah,
Intermediate flight.
that's right.
I think that's him, man. And he looks like he's in an airline pilot's uniform.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of our compatriots are airline pilots.
Yeah, same here.
One of my best flying buddies in Columbia is one.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of tips and tricks in here in the 2001 Stunt News. Interesting. And Gerald, I came across a gentleman named Kim Webby from New Zealand.
Yeah.
He's got an article in here about the magic stunt run from 2001.
Wow.
Yeah,
What kind of evidence featured?
You know why it's a magic stunt run? Because nobody can get one with an icy engine.
Not true. It can be done.
Just the New Zealand thing caught my eye, and he talks about
Biting my tongue.
tanks, muffler pressure, fuel line, valve assemblies, engine cleanliness, fuel. He's got a whole lot propellers, flight testing. This is an interesting article.
He's a very good.
I'll tell you one thing.
I have a timer and a couple of buttons.
Yeah. All I got to tell you is when I went to France with Samantha and we got there, how many flights you think it took to get the lap times and the power and everything right on that airplane?
I'm being conservative, maybe 2 or 3 maximum.
Or something.
Zero.
Okay.
0 flights. How many days you think it took for the rest of the team to get their engines running right in France?
I don't know.
Chris Rudd 3, and the other 2 never got them running right.
Who won the world championship?
And messed around every day with their motors, trying to get good practice and trying to get the motor to run.
Yeah.
We take 4 batteries with me. Done. We're gone. We got our 4 flights in. We go back later in the day, 4 more. We're like, oh, it's too fast. It's too slow. It ain't breaking right. We got to shorten the pipe. We got to lengthen the pipe. We got to do this. It was crazy. I mean, I do not miss spending all that money to spend 2 or 3 days trying to get a good motor run at different altitudes, different temperatures, or whatever. I don't miss it. That was the worst part of flying stunt.
Yeah, well.
Going someplace and screwing with that motor for days.
Yeah, well, different climate, different conditions.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Steve, Dick, there's a report from the 2000 Michigan State Control Line Championships. John Paris, Gil Reedy, Jim Harris, Phil Spillman, Bob McDonald, Joe Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Any of them guys. Intermediate stunt, John Paris, Paul Lutz, Ron Lutz, Gil Reedy, Wayne Baran.
None of them fly anymore but John.
John, yeah, we was flying Saturday.
Expert stunt was John Sunderland, Pete Bergstrom, and Bob McDonald.
Bob McDonald's the only one that flies anymore.
He flies once in a while, McDonald, but not often.
Yeah, everybody you named there are all gone. We never see them anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So Howard Shinton had a handful of stunt news, model aviation, model airplane news, flying models. He had, I don't know, Rusty, what would you say, like at least 10 big boxes?
There's a pile of them. Yeah, I didn't look through them, but I saw them.
And he had a sign that said they're going in the trash if nobody takes them, because he wasn't taking them.
Wish I'd looked through and picked through, but I didn't.
Well, I grabbed like, I don't know, 30 stunt news from the late 90s and early 2000s.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll ask him if he's still got them to bring them to the next meeting.
There's good stuff in them.
So his sign was pretty adamant. It said,
Really?
if they don't take them, they're going in the trash.
I missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
I missed an opportunity. I should have looked.
Well, I had a couple of guys flying my plane at and helped me trimming it out. It was Derek Barry and David Fitzgerald after the contest was over. And what I've noticed is that they were both overturning the plane. The plane was so quick in a turn, they overshot the vertical every single time.
It's got a 4-inch bell crank in it.
Yes. Yeah, it does have a 4-inch bell crank, but it has the system inside is adjustable. So it was, but it was turning so quick that every time they had to like if you try to do a square, the plane would overturn and had to correct.
Yeah.
Turn a corner, had to correct. But you cannot say it cannot turn because it's electric and because of the the way the battery is, stuff like that. If it's built for electric, I mean, it's gonna turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm thinking.
You run your prop opposite the traditional direction for an IC.
No, it's traditional direction.
Is it?
Yeah, most of the electric guys run them the correct way.
Well,
You don't
why
run.
wouldn't you run it the other way and cut back on tip weight, I presume?
No, I think the only place where you may get some advantage is overhead when you do the vertical 8s and the hourglass, but that's about it. And not so much. I mean, my plane actually doesn't need it at all. So and the problem with that is that we are so used to trim the planes for a certain, and we are used to
Everything's intuitive now. Yeah.
we have the feel for the gyroscopic precession that we have right now. If you change the direction, everything changes, and you get confused and goes like, oh, what's going on here? This is wrong when it's actually right, and try to the whole trimmings. See,
I hadn't even considered that. That's a real good point.
I mean, sometimes you can, so just keep it the normal way and call it a day, and then that's about it. I think that's the only reason for which is being kept the same. Other than you're just used to it.
Samantha likes counter rotating.
Okay.
We've done both, and she likes counter rotating better than regular. But for the World Championships, we flew regular because we couldn't get a prop in counter rotating. But she likes it in the overheads. And she likes it in the clover when you first start the clover. That when she pulls into that first loop, she thinks it comes through it better. And so, but yeah, I guess it's what people.
But then on the third one is gonna be looser, right?
So it depends on where you where you like it, but she didn't see as much as it being as too loose on the third one over the first one. She thought she gained so much more on the first one to set everything up and get establish that maneuver. Worth it on the third one to lose a little bit because it wasn't enough to affect her.
Yeah.
The third one, the outside, like the back half of the 8.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's where flying planes, I notice when you do the first loop and then you come up, and then when you make the transition from up to down, that's when a lot of planes, the outboard wing pops up at you, or if you hit a crosswind, that's when the plane comes chasing you.
Yeah.
So whatever reason, and ill-trained, some bad trim planes that I flew, you do the inside and then you do the outside, and then if something happens, you got a multitude of problems, and next thing you know, the plane's chasing you. That's always like a bad spot.
So it's a trim problem after all, right?
Right. Yeah, the ailerons. We had to cut down the aileron on I forget which side. We had to cut down the aileron because the one side was throwing it too much or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's a poorly built profile with ailerons on it.
Yeah.
I forgot what side. got to trim down the outboard side.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mike, who is the guy that was judging me and Sam on Saturday? Dale was one. Who was the other guy?
One of the Smith brothers, wasn't it?
I can't read the signature. Can't tell.
The Smiths come up from Florida.
Who?
Hold on a sec. Yeah. The Smith brothers came up from Florida. I'm trying to think of who was sitting next to Dale.
Was his name
that
Jim?
that was Wayne Smith, wasn't it?
Wayne. Okay.
Yeah, that was Wayne Smith.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll be at Brodak. They're usually at Brodak.
Yeah.
I saw Rick Huff was there. He came.
Yeah.
Rick
Yeah.
and Sarah Marie.
Yeah.
She got an award for helping out so much.
Yeah. No, they're not. I see them a lot up here. You know, they come to the Jersey a lot to fly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rick
she's
and-
flying really good.
and
She almost won. She almost won beginner.
Beginner, yeah.
Yeah, she
Came in
did,
second.
but I mean only by like 2 or 3 points. Was between first and second, and it was Ron Waldron's great grandson or Mike Waldron's grandson, because Mike and Ron are father and son, but Mike brought his grandson, so that would make him Ron's great grandson.
I've never said his grandson before. I guess that was the first event I've been to where they brought him.
They brought him, and he'd been flying a little bit. I think, I don't know, he's probably between 9 and 12, I think would be my, I don't know what his age is, but he was flying beginner. He won beginner, but just barely beating Sarah Marie. He did awesome, man.
Yeah, Sarah Marie flies very well, but she's kind of afraid of flying inverted. She needs a lot more inverted flight. It's typical of the people that start to fly and then they don't go inverted right away, and they just spend so much time in normal flight, and after that, when they start to fly inverted, it scares the bejesus out of them.
Yeah,
And
when
you
I
can
first
tell in
started
their flight.
flying, I'd never heard of a plane that would fly upside down. Took me a while. But when I did first try it, after I finally got my baby stunt ships, I took right to it. Some people have a perspective issue and a reflex issue, but something about me seeing the wheels pointed up made everything feel natural. So I never did get confused about up and down.
Yeah,
That's some people never take to it as well. Yeah, because my son Otto to inverted very easily. He's able to fly competently low inverted, and he seems to crash very little now. But the other son Max struggles more with inverted. But there is nearly a 2-year age gap. And Mike was talking before about Kim Webby, and Kim Webby's got a son who's a similar age to Otto. And his name's Tawhai, but he flies really well. His father's a really great stunt flyer, so again, his son flies really well, and I think it's that same thing. It's that tuition at that early age. They've got all the maneuvers and all the time.
I don't know what's going on with me in inverted flight. Granted, I've only had a couple of tries at it, but in Huntersville, after the wing over, I just eased it into the ground, and I can blame that on not having enough line control, but it's hard to know what the hell happened. But then with Mike out there with me in the circle, Triple Tree, I almost flew the damn thing in the ground just because I don't know if I wasn't watching or what, but I realized it was an inch off the ground and pulled up. And that was halfway through the reverse wing over, of which I completely botched the second half, but I tried to fly it without looking up. And that we had to work to catch that. But I'm glad I didn't plant it there again. That would have been disappointing. But like I said, I managed to do 8 stunts and fly 4 of them decently.
We worked pretty good together passing that handle, considering
We did, yeah. We had to discuss it, but the ringer came off easy.
Holding you up with this hand and trying to get the handle with the other and get the thong off.
Yeah.
And Rusty flies, the thong on his handle is on the flipping upside of the handle. So, and I didn't know this before we went out there and started this. You probably should have talked about that, or you should have told me that, because I'm going to grab the handle and the thong is on the upside.
Yeah,
I
lanyard
wanted
is
to
up.
handle this way and put. And if I'd have done it, I would have broke his airplane.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
you got to
"What?"
come
I said, "What
underneath
do you-"
and grab
what
it
do you
like
say?
that.
He said, "Up is on the thong side." So okay, now I got it. And I picked it up, and sure as shit, the thong was up there.
Yeah.
Russ, maybe you should try to take a little down out of your handle. You know, I mean, you know, because when you come across, if you got too much down in your handle.
Everything
Yeah.
down and inverted, I fly better than I do upright.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave that alone. Now I fly fine with the handle setting I got now. I just, got no stamina. But man, I couldn't have done it without Mike though. I really appreciate you looking out for me, buddy, because that was the difference between me being able to get out there on my feet and fly and just not doing it.
Well, it was excellent seeing the pictures of you there at Journal. It was great seeing you and Sam together, and putting in those flights. It was
Sam's
magic.
getting almost as tall as I am. Looking at us in that picture, he's a good-looking boy.
Yeah, well, yeah, they go fast.
That's a nice photo of him with the Cub Scout leader, Mike. He looking good there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we drove back from Joe Knoll Saturday afternoon, got home Saturday night. We had a 3-hour birthday party at the trampoline park yesterday morning, and then 1 hour to get to the Cub Scout Blue and Gold banquet.
Oh gosh!
Earned his Weeblo badge.
Oh, congratulations!
Well, I tell you, just to get off topic of airplane stuff for a minute, Sam's in Scouts, obviously. We started with 18 kids, 18 graduating bears that were becoming Weeblos, and only 4 kids out of 18 stuck around through the year and did all the adventures to earn their Weeblo badge. I mean, that's a pretty high attrition rate, and it kind of bothered me that all these parents just let kids quit like that for something that they had paid money for, signed up for, and committed to. And then just to go, I'm not going to.
Yeah,
it's
That's it, though. There's no commitment.
It's $160 to sign up for the year, and you gotta pay the money in September when they go back, or August, early September when they go to school. They pay their $160 for the year, and then they just start dropping like flies.
Now Weeblo is the second one after that first little button with the tiger on it. What's that called? Is that?
No, it's Arrow of Lights after Weeblos, I think.
It's Arrow of Light after Weeblos, but Sam just became
before Weeblo.
But it's Tigers.
Tigers. Okay.
No, Tigers is the first one.
Tigers is the first one.
Yes. Okay.
Tigers, wolves, bears.
Wolves. That's
bear, Weeblos, and Arrows of Light.
I don't think it was quite the same when I was in the Cubs. I don't know.
But anyway, he did it, and we're done with Scouts for the year, so we can move on with that.
Yeah, Alex also graduated the Bears this year.
Excellent.
So she's gonna be a Weeblo next year. Yeah.
So, Weeblo, there's a lot of cool stuff, man. I mean, I hosted the Build It stuff here, Balu the Builder, the Build It. We did some electives here. I mean, and what made me mad about the people not showing up is they, if you're building toolboxes and you know there's 12 kids in the pack and you're the guy buying all the materials and making the kit, and then like 4 kids show up, because their parents don't bother to tell you that they're not coming.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It is frustrating. It's just frustrating, and I think it lets their kids know that they can quit something if they want. If you don't want to go do it, you don't have to. But
they take that mentality through their life then.
Exactly.
It's too bad.
Okay.
It was the same thing though when I went through Cub Scouts. Once we got into Weeblos, there was only 2 of us, and then that was it. We finally quit.
Well, I mean, after Arrow, he'll leave Cub Scouts and go into full-on Boy Scouts, and I don't have to go to this stuff. Boy Scouts is all about independence.
Yeah.
They go off with adults. They go to camp. They go. He's gonna have to do his own thing. That's the whole thing with Boy Scouts.
Yeah. My dad didn't accompany me with the Boy Scouts, but he did with the Cubs. So.
Right. independence in Boy Scouts. So
Mhm.
we'll keep going, and hopefully he sticks with it. But
Is
I
there
certainly wouldn't let him stop and quit in the middle of the year or
is there
2 months in.
is there a pretty good troop down there in Boy Scouts?
Yeah, our pack. I mean, there's 50 kids in the pack, 50, 55 kids in the pack with all the different.
That's a big pack.
But I'm saying the Weeblos, we started with 18 and we had 4.
Right. I was just wondering how many were actually in Boy Scouts.
Well, I don't know how many's in Boy Scouts because we're in Cub Scouts.
Yeah. Well, I thought you might know what's going on up.
Two different organizations. We don't know. We won't know till we get there. So, hey, but just to get back on airplane topic, Dick and Steve, do you remember the Detroit Orbiteers?
Yeah, yeah.
1962 Orbiteers.
I don't. I was only 3 years old.
You were only 3. Dick, were you around then?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's an article in here about the Detroit Orbiteers and them flying at Rouge Park.
Yeah.
And you know what? Looking at this, I would have to guess that my dad was around there then at that time doing that because he flew at Rouge Park in the late 50s and early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that place they flew ended up being the Detroit aeromodelers in the 1970s.
Yeah.
But there's some names in here of some people. I was kind of hoping I'd run across my dad's name. A lot of free flight stuff, a lot of control line stuff. There's actually no RC stuff. It's like
RC was expensive back then because you had to build everything.
well, and they're talking about A, B, and C airplanes.
Yeah.
Classes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Half A.
That's where half A comes from. They used to classify them by engine size.
Okay.
35s and above. C motor was a 60, A was where 15s.
Yeah, up to 15.
A lot of
A started at 05-2
a lot of the kits in those days had for instead of
or 05-1.
35, it said B to C motors.
Yeah. Half A was 049, A was 05-1.
Says the club was organized in November of 1960 with 7 members, and by 62 they had 32 members, mostly control line and free flight, but a few that flew RC.
Yeah.
You had to have a lot of money and build the stuff yourself.
Yeah, it
I
was
was
all
about to say
kits,
that. I agree. Yeah.
kit and craft and
They had an annual picnic at Rouge Park.
My buddy brought out his transmitter that he flew in the early 60s. It's set on the ground,
Yep.
and it had a 20-foot antenna that come off of it, and a cable back to, I think it was 2-channel. I think it had a throttle. They could turn on and off the throttle. Then it was an escapement
they run rudder.
button so many times, and that was RC.
Yep.
And that was all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to bump to make the rudder move back and forth.
Yeah.
Clunk, clunk. Elevator went this way, that way, and that way. Rudder went that way, and that way.
Yeah.
Were the elevator and the rudder slaved together?
No, you
Okay.
could do. You had 2 buttons. You had one for the elevator, one for the rudder.
Yeah.
Dad had some of that stuff.
Most
Mm.
Early
fly
RC
mode
stuff.
2 now, which is like a stick on an airplane. But why they call it mode 1, that was the first mode because it had it was just like little switches. It really wasn't a,
Yeah.
and the one side worked the up and the down, and the other side worked left and right. So as things got progressed and they got rudder put in it and throttle, it became, that's how the gimbals came around. And one had throttle and ailerons on one stick, and you had elevator and rudder on the other stick. Then after that, they came out with mode 2 to make it fly like an airplane. But yeah, that's how they got their number system.
Yeah, the gear was expensive. When I bought my first radio control set, it was like three weeks' wages for a 4-channel radio.
Oh yeah.
So you had to save a long time to get your radio set, and no servo reversing or anything.
I put my radio on layaway, and it
Mine,
took me months to pay it off.
With those discrete transistor units.
Yes. Yeah, back then, once you bought it in a certain channel, that's what you had. And the big thing was back then to get your ham license, because you could fly on 53 megahertz.
Yeah.
And
Really?
a lot less people on them
I
channels.
bet that was rough. I mean, because all kinds of interference comes in on that area.
No, they give you your own frequency of 53 megahertz, and nothing else was on that.
Mm.
But to get that one, you had to have your ham license. To
Yeah.
frequency.
Well, I was thinking of auto ignition and static in the air and everything else. Seems like that would cause interference on that band.
Well, back then there were only 2 or 3 watt power.
This was amplitude. This was AM, right? Not FM.
Yeah, it was AM.
Yeah.
Then they came up with FM on 53 megahertz.
My first
That
radio
was
was FM.
probably a huge improvement.
Mine was FM, but I had to have a radio license for my one as well. I had to go along and get it tested by the radio buffins at the government. Tested the thing and pay a fee to license it. But we don't have any of that. Haven't had that for 20, 30 years now.
What was crazy was the AM you could fly your models further away without having problems. Where you have glitches and stuff. I don't know why the distance was so much better.
Hey, who's got one of these handles, man? The Jim Elam flight adjust with pulleys. Flight adjust.
No,
Wow.
that's actually pretty cool as long as the line doesn't come off fully.
Yeah.
In 2001, you could buy this handle for $55.
It's biased also.
They used to make a handle that had lever on it. When you went inverted, you flipped the lever and the lines flipped upside down.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Best
God.
idea ever.
That's terrible.
Spun wrong. You did it too many times.
Trying that.
At Brodak, ask Banjock to show you his handle.
He's got one. Yeah, Dan's got one.
Hits that little lever and thing goes. You have to wind it up
Yeah.
before
I do have one, but I can't find it.
There's a couple of old timers in our club that fly the opposite. When you pull back, it's down, and when you pull, go down. It's up.
Yeah, we got one guy that flies with us that way.
fly this way though, don't they?
No, he flies that regular way.
Just hand this way and flies it up.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul, Paul Jirash. That's he flies upside down. Up is down, down is up.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's
Why
crazy.
he does, but he holds
He's
his
trying to fly the other way, but he can't.
Now when I was taught, like back in when I used to fly younger, everybody in the Union Club back in the 60s, when you went inverted, you put your hand to the side like that.
Yeah.
And that's a hard, because I really haven't been flying inverted till the past 3 years, because only maybe a half a lap or so. So I was trying to really, it's a hard habit to break, to fly, to get it back.
Turning the hand sideways. Yeah.
Laying it sideways. So now I'm about 45 now.
I'm going to interrupt again. Rusty, Mark Boson, is that our Mark Boson from Cox Cafe Forum?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, that's him.
Intermediate stunt.
Yeah, that's about right. I think he went on and moved up from there to advance.
Third place in 2001 intermediate stunt at the Nats.
Cool.
And then a shout out to my local guy here, Mac Henry.
I've heard of
I don't
him.
know Mac, but
Yeah.
he flew a little bit of stunt too. Old combat guy.
Well, let me ask you this: does Mark have any Huskers paraphernalia on, a T-shirt or anything, hat?
He's wearing a Nebraska shirt.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Now, I'll
guys,
tell you what, though, Al, if you watch that one video from Igor, when it's like a training one, when he comes into his wing over, he holds his hand sideways so that when he comes over the top,
right.
it's fully up and he doesn't have to twist his wrist during the wing over.
You mean he holds it like? You mean he holds it like this? Wait a minute, I gotta unclick Mike.
Yeah, so he turns his hand
You
sideways.
mean, you mean he holds it like this?
Well, he holds it upside down.
I've seen a picture of Igor flying like this before, but
It's
I
him-
bet his lanyard's on his downside.
Yeah,
When he comes-
his palm is down.
into the thing, what he says is that automatically your hand comes out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Before he goes up in the wing over, he turns his hand sideways, gives it up.
Yeah,
then
you know,
brings
you're
it up,
right.
and
It does naturally turn that way anyway.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep, he just gives it
If you give it up, you got to turn it.
Our
right.
good buddy Ruben McBride is in here flying intermediate at the Nats in 2001.
Oh, no kidding. Steve's dad.
Yeah.
Hey, Len,
Yeah.
is there anything else you need for Brodak? Because I'd like to get my hands on some of that Canadian money too.
Well, let's see. I could use a 6-month holiday with triple pay.
Are you bringing my oil to Brodak, Steve?
Yeah, I'll bring it there.
Okay. What was it? $80, $60, $100? I forget.
Charge them 300.
What kind of oil you get? What kind of oil?
Guys, I'm gonna go sleeping. I have to work tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, Tryon.
I'm saying good night.
See you later, Ryan. Thanks for coming in and helping us with our Jonal report.
It's Technoplate.
Yeah, it's scale 200, right? It's all synth, no caster, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's not the 100 that's 80/20. It's 200 that's all synth. I wanted some that was all synth, so when I do it like caster blend, I'm not trying to do math with 80/20 clots and the,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
If you want Yukon oil, Henry has that stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, Steve picked me up a case at Toledo, so
Yep.
Well,
four gallons.
He's there. I want to ask him the number for that Yukon. What it is now and what it transfers into and the down number. Because they call it Yukon, but you got to order it through
he has it for years. He has a 55-gallon drum of it or something.
Oh.
You know, it's old stock, you know.
But what it is that it's like,
was it LB's? Oh man, wrote it down years ago.
Yeah.
6 something. I don't know.
Changed all the numbers because all it is glycol, and we use it all the time in pumping cold or heat wherever.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and now they call it Dowtherm, and this.
Yeah. Well,
call it Yukon anymore. But I need to find out what it is because
is the LB something.
Yeah. And I tried with our salesman to find out what it was, and he kept saying he couldn't find it. But I couldn't find out what they changed the number to. You can buy
you want the old number?
Huh?
You want the old number?
I gave him the old number. Someone else I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, something like 685 or something like that. I don't know.
There's like 2 or 3 of them, and he couldn't find it out. And I need to find out what the hell they changed it to. For the reason is they get like 14 to 16 bucks a quart. You know, you buy it as model airplane oil. If you buy it as heat transfer fluid, you can get it for a couple bucks a gallon or a couple bucks a quart.
Oh, really? Wow. I
can get a drum of it for hardly nothing.
Because years ago I asked about it and called up the company Dow, and then they kept my number, and they want to sell me a 55-gallon drum for, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000. I said, forget it. Then some guy wanted to buy it, and then they called me up if I wanted to split it with him. It still was way too much money. I got all I need now anyway. I bought it off of Henry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the hell I got at someplace, what it was. A gallon or a quart.
But well, I'm going to jump out of here too. I got a half a building session tomorrow night.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. Thanks for
All right,
dropping in on us.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
See you.
Now we're slowly whittling away.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it
I'm
was like-
sorry about the other night, Leonard. We were trying to get you to close
That
the
was my
tab,
fault.
and you,
I figured something out tonight. And what it is that if I don't hook up my hardwire connection and try to do it wireless, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Tonight it's been fine.
wire is always better than wireless.
Yeah, see, I was on wireless, I bet, the other night, and I didn't have the wire hooked in. Tonight I hooked the wire in, no problem.
Well, you didn't. I think you didn't know what I was talking about when I kept telling you about tabs on your browser. So you need to go to sometime when you got something nothing better to do. Go to Google and say how to use Chrome or Chrome
Okay.
for Dummies or something like that.
Yeah.
And just read about it. They'll give you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I suck on computer. That's another big
Yeah.
part of it.
Well,
Have you ever gone to the Google?
actually, it's intuitive once you get started. But do what I said. Look that up, and
Go to your Google's browser, your Google search, and type in "do a barrel roll." The next time you're on there, when you got
Right.
Google up, just type in "do a barrel roll."
Do a barrel roll?
Do a barrel roll. Just trust me.
Okay.
It's
I'll
really
check
cool.
it out.
It's really cool. Do a
I'll
barrel
bet.
roll
Thanks.
on your Google search.
I'm going to go look at that right now.
It's
I
not
can't go
anything
look.
perverted or sexual. It's just cool.
That's all right.
As aviation guys, you'll get it, man. You'll get it.
Okay.
Everybody's typing it into their Google right now.
I can't do it or I'll lose this and I won't be able to get back.
Oh, you don't
No,
know
you
how to make
won't.
it small and close another box?
You can open a new tab and don't try it, Leonard. You'll get blown off.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it after when I get
There's
off.
the barrel roll.
One of the local airports Facebook groups that I belong to, one of the guys posted, type this in your search bar. And I immediately did it, and I was like, it worked. I couldn't believe it.
There's all kind of Easter eggs out there to find like that. If you
That's
look
what
for
it
'em.
is. It's a little Easter egg, you know. So it's kind of neat. It works. Google's paying
Even
attention.
XL used to have an Easter egg in it where you could play a little game trying to make a guy walk across a bridge and turn a corner without falling off, stuff like that. Just right in the middle of your XL spreadsheet, if you hit the right keystrokes, boom, that Easter egg game pops up.
Okay. Dick, did you do it? You're smiling over there. You
Oh,
look.
no.
Oh, okay.
Did you finish your airplane, Rich?
Oh, yeah, it's all done, ready to fly. As soon as the weather goes.
That looks good. Yeah, he was showing it to us the other night.
That's awesome.
We missed most of that hangout on Friday because we were trying to do it from,
Yeah.
From Triple Tree.
I was so excited about Thursday that I did about a 45-minute commentary at first, and probably one of my best commentaries ever. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, that nighttime electric flying wing stuff they were doing was insane to watch.
I wish we could have seen it better.
They were doing 10 to 14, 16 airplanes up at a time. And they're just, one of them crashed close to us. So I went over, and when a guy picked it up, I was like, can I see the plane? They only got like 30-inch wingspan on them. They're flying wings. They're built out of Dollar Tree foam board, symmetrical airfoil, jam full of LEDs. They got a 2200 kg motor with a 7-inch prop on it, elevon,
Wow.
and they go like 70 miles an hour. And they all get out there on the flight line. The electric flight line is right behind the control line fields. So you can see them when they're getting ready because they start pushing the buttons on there. You see the wings light up, and you just see like a dozen guys with wings, and they all throw them in the air at the same time, and pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, those
they
ducted
go
fans
back and
screaming sound cool too.
all up, and like, it's crazy. It's midair, and it's awesome. It's really.
Did anybody fly any control line at night?
Yeah, Will Davis flew a full pattern with a flashlight, didn't he?
2 full patterns on a ringmaster with a flashlight, shining it on the plane as he flew the pattern.
Oh,
The electric guys were doing this stuff. The 3D guys, we could hear them flying their big gassers. And Will's like, "We got to put a control line plane up, man. We got to represent. We got to get something in the air. I'm gonna do
It was a full moon too, so it was beautiful weather for night flying.
Well, I had an epiphany actually today when I was home thinking about all that stuff. So my thought was when these guys were doing all their electric stuff at night, I'd throw a Nelson up, and just do a night flight with a Nelson 36. And I started thinking about it a little more, and I'm like, I need to build a Nelson 36 and put LEDs all across the top and the bottom so they can see a 130-mile airplane.
No shit.
On 60-foot line.
That would make it all the way around the circle.
They think they're fast going up and down the runway. Wait till they see one that's in a confined airspace going 130.
How about 2 of them and have a combat?
I'm not sacrificing 2 engines, man, and taking a chance on case to case, man. That's
no, I know.
I'll tell you what, you send me 2 Nelsons and we'll do it next year, man.
I got a Nelson.
Okay. Well, bring it to Triple Tree and we'll do it.
Oh. Nelson, what? 15?
What you got there, Gerald?
Oh, I don't have a 36.
That looks like that's about the same shoestring, but what is that?
Well, it's my Thunderbird wing so far. Yeah, I added the extra spars. It showed spars for the bottom, but not the top.
Yeah.
And make sure I've got a plate on the top and the bottom to support the bell crank.
Let's slowly rotate it. Let me see your bell crank fixture. How I got it suspended there.
Yeah, it's not actually glued in right now. I've got to add another plate underneath.
Yeah, okay, so it's going to have a plate on both sides.
Yeah.
So you just got a piece of 3/32 or 1/8 music wire through it.
It's got a bolt going through the bell crank that's long enough that I can put the plate on the top of the bell crank.
Yeah.
So
and your shear webs, Gerald, you put holes in them for lightning and it won't affect the strength.
Oh, that's not a shear web. It's actually a spar. That's the Rodeck Thunderbird kit, and it uses a full depth.
Okay.
That's like a G-tube, isn't it? So.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's not a very strong wing, and I think that's why they've added these extra. I don't think Bob Palmer originally had these extra spars on it, and they've added into the centre section up into.
Are those spars or basewood spars?
Oh, they're just balsa. All of it's just balsa. Yeah. These ones are slightly. The bottom ones of the centre bars are 3/8 by 1/4, and the other ones are just 1/4 square. So there's not a lot of strength, but a lot of those old time kits aren't terribly strong. And it's like the I was going to build a Chief. I've got a Chief kit there, and there's nothing in the centre section, and they say they've got a reputation for folding, and I can see why. They're not terribly strong. But I wanted to build that because it's small, it'll fit in the car, because I've nearly finished my Magnum, but it won't fit in the car. And I lost my enthusiasm to finish my Magnum kit if I can't put it in the car and take it anywhere.
Chief's 54 inches.
Yeah, 54 inches is about the biggest I can fit in safely into our station wagon. Otherwise, I've got to get my Chevy Suburban up and running, and then I can take a bigger model. I can put it on my Chev truck. I can't take all the kids.
You've got a Suburban there?
Yeah, I've got two Suburbans, older Suburbans, the 80s ones, and an 80s truck as well. You know, there's the two-door truck and two Suburbans. So
Did they import those, or do you have manufacturing there?
they did actually have a little bit of manufacturing here. They came, I think they were kitted them in Australia, and some of them came in the 90s. But my ones were both converted when they came into the country into right-hand drive. In fact, all three of them were converted to right-hand drive. So it makes it easy to drive, but it's the fuel price here. We're paying our dollar's about 65 to an American, but we're paying $2.30 a litre for fuel, which is
Wow.
it's like $10 a gallon. You know, it's easy.
That's
It's all
brutal.
it's all tax. It's just a crazy eco government here just wants to put all the money from fuel back into trains and buses and everything. So a bit like they're doing in England, they're just penalising you for driving.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that you have like the pig of an American car that doesn't care how much gas it takes to run. You know, one of the ones that was built in the 80s, big ones.
Oh yeah, I love the American.
Fuel like nothing else.
Oh yeah. My Chev truck does 10 miles per gallon consistently, so honestly, I don't drive it much. But it's fun to drive. But no, the truck doesn't come out much. I normally just drive.
The Suburbans were the first soccer mom vans, man, in the 80s.
Wow.
That's what they were. And I remember a couple of my friends' parents had them, and they were the ones that drove us all the baseball games, drove us all the football games. You know, 3 rows of seats behind the driver in the passenger seat, and then even a little bit of space behind the third row to open up the back doors and put even more stuff. You know,
they're really big
vehicles, man.
But yeah, they've got the aerodynamics of a barn door. That's something.
Yeah, I think they were either like puke yellow and white, they were blue and white, or they were red and white. There might have been some black and white ones. What color is yours?
One's nice metallic blue, and the other's the puke yellow and white. So,
right. But does your metallic one have a white stripe down the door? Is it two-tone?
No.
It's all.
No, that one's the GMC badged one, and it was a highly option one. That one I can't remember how they termed that one, but that one's got a nice metallic paint and all the electronics on that one. That one was quite nice, whereas the other one was Scottsdale and it was with wind-up windows, and it was a much more Spartan vehicle. Whereas my other Chev truck's just a custom deluxe, the baseline with no electric windows or anything.
That's really cool. Hey, take a picture of them so we can see them next time we're on the chat. I'd like to see what a Suburban built in Australia that ended up in New Zealand looks like.
Yeah, I think mine were actually built in the US and then exported and then converted here.
Okay.
Yeah,
not the
isn't it? I was watching a thing on TV about junkyard garage or something they call it here, where they go through and redo these. And they had 2 old-time muscle cars back from the 60s and brought them back, and they had been converted, and they said it was a law that Chrysler sent them over, and then they had some shop there that they sent them to that worked with Chrysler to convert them to right-hand drive.
Oh, they couldn't send them already done. They had to do the work there.
I don't know, but
that's your unions at work right there, buddy. The unions have something to do with that.
No, they wanted to make the money over there and
well, yeah, give people jobs. Yeah.
Right. That's the Republican Trump thing. Don't do it easily and easy money. Send it over there and have them converted after at least they could have sent it over with no steering wheel on the other side. Leave it on. They actually sent it over there with the steering wheel and everything in it, and then they changed it over.
Crazy. In the old days, they used to sell everything as a kit, and we'd get the kits from Canada, because when Canada was right-hand drive, and with a 1960 Chev and a 68 Pontiac. The Pontiac was a Pontiac Laurentian, which was a Canadian model that was Canadian built, but it came over as a kit set, and they built it up here in Petone outside of Wellington. The right-hand drive car from new.
I can't even imagine rebuilding them. I built right-hand drives when I worked at Honda. They were a bugger to build.
You know, they used the same chassis, and I think they used the same chassis for the Chevrolet models, and a number of them. And
so many other things that have to be changed over. It's just nuts. Like, I mean, they were tough to build the first time, let alone have to build it left-hand drive, then take it all apart and build it the other way. Oh my God.
Well, to me, it seems like that the big vehicle over there would have been the Jeep, since the United States government ordered so many of them with right-hand drive that they were just ran them off the assembly line, and they wouldn't have had to be changed over or anything, and they would have been a big sell in Australia and New Zealand.
Well, it's funny you said that, Steve, because my mailman has a brand new 2018 Jeep Sahara, and it's right-hand drive. He's got it set up where he pops the steering wheel off and moves over to the other side and pops the steering wheel back on.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I mean it's a 2018. He got it last year. He was driving an older Jeep before that was right-hand drive all the time, but he just got a brand new Sahara, and he just moves the steering wheel over to the other side. I don't know what he's got for gas pedals and how he does all that. It's an automatic, you know, but I catch him because he finishes his route one house from mine. He has one more delivery after mine, and then he gets out and he puts the steering wheel on the other side and drives off.
So he has right-hand and left-hand drive.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
My fiance that died there, her dad, for years in retirement, bought damn government Jeeps from the post office, and then he'd redo them all and sell them to the rural carriers that had to have their own vehicles. And that was a big thing, man. He always had 3 or 4 of them. He'd go through new rear ends, and transmissions were rebuilt. And
I remember reading the ads in Popular Mechanics in the 70s that said buy government Jeeps for $47 or something like that. You remember in the back of Popular Mechanics?
Yeah.
All kinds of wacky stuff and weird. Build your own flying machine, build your own jetpack, build your own hovercrafts. But it was buy government Jeeps for $47.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that bought 30-06 shells from the government that were from World War II, because that was the Grand shot, the 30-06. They just must had millions of them things, and he'd get them, and that's where he did from back of a magazine to buy these surplus 30-06 shells, and he had thousands and thousands of them just for practice.
Yeah.
But he said something about they weren't non-corrosive primers or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
So he had to clean the guns, but he said it was so cheap that him and his friends would go out there and just go to the rifle range and just shoot the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. I believe how much stuff they have like that they don't use. Have it just in case.
So Gerald, are you're into building season now? I guess, right? Flying season is.
No, we're still flying, but the weather is getting colder and wet. We went out to fly on the weekend, and it was windy. It was blowing 20 knots, and my son had just sat there. I only flew diesels. I just flew some small models. We all flew one diesel-powered small model. I just thought, I'm not going to wreck anything good in this wind, and we flew a combat model. We just sort of shared a couple of models so we didn't wreck anything, but the weather is the problem. It's not really, really cold, but it gets wet and windy. But yeah, on those World War II surplus vehicles, we used to have a lot of them around here when I was a kid. I remember the Jeeps, as you say, the World War II Jeeps, the GMC trucks, and the British-designed CMP carriers, and people would even have the little brim gun carriers. They're like a little tank, an ammunition carrier style tank that they'd use on about the size of Stuart. They'd use them on their farms instead of ATVs. So there's a lot of stuff like that floating around here for a long time.
Yeah, as a kid growing up in the 70s, an Army Navy surplus store, you were buying World War II surplus, and I mean there was Korean War stuff and a little bit of Vietnam stuff coming in. But
Mouse boots up here in Michigan that were at the Army Navy surplus. The white damn boots.
oh, the Mickey Mouse boots.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse boots.
Yeah.
I mean,
They had the white ones and the black ones. And
yeah.
They had a Schrader valve on the side.
Yeah, you can pump them up.
Pump them up with air, and it would insulate them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have one guy at work that still has a pair, and he doesn't wear them real often unless it gets really cold, because he had like 4 or 5 pairs, and they finally wear out after you have.
Yeah, they do. Because there's a damn rubber inner tube in there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got literally, Rusty, the little brass Schrader valve that's on a bicycle tire or on your car is on the outside of these boots. And you pump air into them, and they expand, and then you've got a layer of rubber, a layer of air, a layer of rubber, and then the felt insulation or the wool insulation inside. And I think they were Air Force boots, weren't they?
The infantry, they had white ones, they had black ones. I'm not sure. You know, they had them for everything. But
Yeah, if it was Air Force, I mean, if it was part of a pressure suit, they might have had airlines connected to those valves.
Well, I remember Harry's Army Surplus in Detroit had all that stuff on Telegraph Road, Telegraph and Warren, or Telegraph and Ford.
yeah, I can't remember what the name was here, but they had hundreds and hundreds of pairs. I wish I'd have bought them because they were cheap.
They would have been very fashionable at Brodax too.
Yeah.
What was neat about them is when you pumped them up, it squeezed around your feet. So if you had big legs or skinny legs or wide feet or narrow feet,
Universal fit.
Hey, my uncle still used those for deer hunting in like up till his death in 2005.
yeah,
A pair of white Mickey Mouse boots, and because he was in a white camo for deer hunting because it's always snow on the ground during deer season in Michigan. And he used them till his death, man.
yeah. They say there's no warmer boot than them. Why they quit making them? I guess they're heavy, but if you want to keep your feet from freezing,
Hey, you know what? You just gave me my $1 million idea right there, man. We need to bring back
the Mickey Mouse boots.
blow up insulated boots, man. Yeah. Think of what you could do today with the materials that are available, and they wouldn't have to be so big and clumpy, and they were like vulcanized rubber too, man. That's why they were so big and heavy, right? But the materials you have today, you could make a boot with the insulated air chamber in between the felt, the air chamber, and outside. You could do it.
Air lawn keys.
Air lawn keys.
Wonky rubber boots.
The only thing is, Mike is the big enough guy to be able to walk in them damn things.
They were big. They were heavy.
And they were heavy. Yeah, I wore them a couple times, and I mean,
Rusty, if you've never seen them, Rusty or Len, just Google Mickey Mouse boots.
I'm gonna check
military Mickey Mouse boots, and you'll see, because they literally are 3 sizes bigger than your actual foot size would be.
So your whole foot, even the bottom, the sole of your foot's enclosed in that air bladder that you can pump up.
But it's a vulcanized rubber sole. It's vulcanized rubber sides. I mean, they probably, Christ, what do you think they weigh, Steve? 4 or 5 pounds a piece?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, easy to walk in, but great for still hunting.
Yeah, that's what I
Not
said.
easy to walk in, but
If your uncle hunted with him, he was a big guy like you. Because
yeah, he was
walking them
taller than me.
you had to have some leg muscles.
He had 2 inches on me, and he was a little skinnier, so he was in better shape. But yeah, if you weren't walking all day and you were just sitting down and you wanted to keep your feet warm, that's what you bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other guys, a friend of his from work there, says he carries his out to where he hunts in his stand and stuff.
And then puts them on.
Come on. because
Len, you might do a little more control flying up there in Canada if you had a pair of them boots, man.
Yeah, right. I'm liable to end up getting back into Junkyard Wars just to wear a pair of those.
there you go.
Are you entering Junkyard Wars this year?
Not this year, no. Not this year.
Not? You should.
I've been talked out of it.
By who?
Oh, I'm not going to go there.
Hey,
You know we have new
find
building
some of the
materials.
Mickey Mouse boots because I want some of that Canadian money.
Now, with Junkyard Wars, can you bring a pre-built crutch?
Yeah.
No,
You
you
can't.
shouldn't. You shouldn't. I've seen guys do it, but you shouldn't. You're supposed to build it there.
A motor mount technically is a crutch.
Right.
Yeah, that's legal with
That's
I always built mine out of whatever was there. I just took the wood that was there and made the motor mounts.
yeah.
well, it's a lot easier to have your motor mount, and they want you to have. You can do your bell crank with the lead outs ready to go,
Yeah,
and
it's
your
safer.
motor mount can have the bell crank hole in it just to so
Yeah.
that it's safe. You know, not doing it on the fly. But we're gonna have Coroplast available this year.
Coroplast?
Oh,
Coroplast.
that's good.
In
That makes
addition-
better airplanes.
in addition to the orange crates that they bring.
Okay.
And, it's already published. It's in the rules. Tim Stagg is running it, and I'm the guy bringing the Coroplast. I've got like 75 political signs from my buddy who ran for Nashville Metro Council for a few years.
So what do you have to do for the flying now? I know they've changed it.
Well, it's going to be, based on stunts that you can perform and a balloon bust as well.
Okay.
So you can do whatever you want to accrue points. You can just do stunts. You can try to bust balloons, or you can do a combination of both.
Combination of the two. Okay.
I got a video of me flying Watts Junkyard Wars plane. It's hilarious. It's got a Max S-35 on it, and the whole plane, I don't think it's got any glue on it. It's all zip tied together. But it's a rickety old thing, but today, damn thing flies. You got to really nurse it through a loop. But
They are, and they've been doing the same thing for a long time with the orange crate deal. So there's a few different designs, but everybody pretty much builds the same thing, some kind of swept wing thing,
Yeah.
So after last year, I had all these Coroplast signs, and I reached out to Tim Stagg, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm willing to donate these, and if you want to add them to the rules, and everybody's going to get a minimum of 5 sheets of X amount of size, probably more than that, maybe 8 sheets, divided equally between the teams, and it's been advertised so that people know that what they're working with before they get there."
Yeah, that makes it a little better.
My thing is, it's the same planes all the time, and they can only do so much. Let's throw another building material in there, make it available to everyone. Everyone gets an equal amount, and I think we'll see some different designs.
yeah, that's a good reason to change things up, just to keep
Maybe
it fresh.
something that flies a little better. They could fly a little better. Maybe I don't know. So. You should participate, Len. It's not too late to be in.
Oh no, it still might happen. Don't rule me out yet.
Okay. What about the rest of the Canucks? Are they gonna?
I don't think there's going to be a great number of us. As far as I know, there's myself coming, Keith Morgan's coming, and Naomi, and beyond that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe Ken Towers. I don't know.
Oh, it sounds like a lot of fun, and I've looked at it, the different videos, and it looks like a great event. Something to
Junkyard Wars is a blast. It's the most fun going at Brodax.
Did the Rectangulus survive the weekend, or was that one of the wrecks?
Yeah, that was one of the wrecks. Yeah, Sam ordered in on the. That one was on the vertical 8. So it'll get repaired. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
been the one.
know, but if you saw one of his crashes, but I always went out and just gave him a high five. You know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, whatever, dude. You know.
Honestly, he doesn't seem to get upset either. And I'm sure he's a little disgusted inside, but he's good and humored about it.
Well, I told him he's not allowed to get upset about it.
Yeah.
Toy airplanes, and we're gonna wreck them. We're gonna crash them, and we'll build.
Yep, you're gonna build more anyway. So what's the difference?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've
And
made that point.
you know, after you got tired, he went off on his own and flew. You know, so I'm saying
He was down there wearing all them batteries out on the ring rack. I know.
Yeah.
I think Will actually made a post that Sam flew more flights than anybody else in Joe Knoll control line.
I bet he did.
Because between him flying stunt, combat, practicing, flying the ring rat, and the lightning streak electric throttle plane, he probably did put up more control line flights than anybody else there.
He must have flown 20 or 30 of them on Thursday.
Yeah, he flew a bunch.
After seeing what I did on Saturday, I'm kind of glad that I didn't get to fly that Skyray.
Must be nice. I haven't had 30 flights this year. I don't think I've had 20.
Well, that's not even counting Huntersville 2 weeks ago, Len.
That's what I mean.
Thursday and Friday, he's put up probably 30 flights between those 2 days. He's flown more than me. I can say that. He's flown more than me. But
won't be long. You'll be beating me too.
are you? What do you fly in? What class?
Expert.
You're an expert. Yeah. He's not gonna be there for a long.
Couple of years.
He'll be
Couple of years.
I'll tell you what, though, he's gonna be beating up on some intermediate guys this year. I think.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. Good to see.
It's some young blood.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hit the hay. See you Friday.
Okay, Rich.
Just got later than what I thought it would.
Have a good evening.
Yep.
Well, good night, Rich.
Come back and see us Friday. Good night. He's gone.
Gotta go. I haven't been able to talk Len out of any of that Canadian money, so I'm.
Not yet. Where do we get the products? Bring me something good. I might give you some.
Okay.
All right.
Take it easy.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, we'll have to wind up soon. Better go and warm up the dinner. And I've got a big mess outside I'm supposed to be working on, but I thought, no, I'm going to do some stunt hanger time today and do a little bit of work on my Thunderbird. So it's been great having the session here. I've been watching the reruns before, and the session the other day from Joe Knowles was a lot of fun. Watching the little UFOs in the sky was neat.
I'm telling you what, Gerald, the video does not do it justice. I can't. You got to see it in person, man. It's insane what those guys are doing. It really is.
Yeah, Naomi and I are really going to try and make a push to get there either next year or the year after for sure.
Yeah. The RC flight lines are incredible. The airplanes that are there are incredible. And we're just kind of over in our own little world there in control line, you know.
Doing your own thing.
There's a contest you can fly in, but you can just fly anytime you want, you know, sun up to sundown.
I couldn't believe how nice the grounds look.
Putting green.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Putting green. I'm not kidding you. I felt bad when Sam was donking all these airplanes in. Every time I walked up to him, I'm like, son, we got to replace our divots. We got to replace our divots. And we would go in there and put the grass back in and step on it, you know. It's a putting green, man. It really is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What sort of grass do they use? It must be some special turf grass.
It's like Bermuda short grass that they use on.
Yeah. The sign says Bermuda 711 or something like that.
Gerald, it literally is golf course putting green grass. And these circles are 70 plus feet or 75 feet to the center. They came out Odom, let's see, we got there late Wednesday night. We saw the mower guys show up Thursday late in the afternoon, and they had a tractor with turf tires on it and a gang mower that was the
really
the rotary kind. And it just,
Yeah.
you know, I drove through and it was geared and it just click, 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 click. And you see the little, I mean, it was taking like
that's
a
amazing.
quarter-inch off the grass, you know, and
Wow.
up in the air. But it was a gang mower of 3, the same stuff you see professional landscapers on a golf course.
You know, they've got enough gangs to do that whole runway in 1 or 2 passes, I think. But
That's unreal. Holy cow.
look up however many they want. It's amazing.
Yeah, the actual runway is the same way. It's that kind of grass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it costs to set that up and to keep it running? Oh my God.
It's 1,000 feet long. How long does it take to land a commercial airliner? Sparky says you could land a 747 there if you had the
No,
weight
it couldn't be.
capability.
I think I looked at the runway from end to end and having worked on a lot of drop zones with grass strips. Just looking at that one, I would say it was a 2,000 foot runway, probably closer to 2,500 foot from threshold to threshold. It's 2,500 foot grass strip, maybe 3 at the most. I mean, you could look on an aeronautical chart and see it because it's a real.
I thought we had 1,000 on the Triptree website, but I might have been mistaken.
What I thought was interesting is if you drove on the I don't know if it was the north or south end or even the east west end because I don't know which way it runs, but down by the 3D line by the lake at the end of the runway on the threshold, they had a big X in like in paper. They had 2 strips of big paper making a big X on the end of the runway because it's a closed runway for the event.
Oh, yeah.
So no full scale traffic can come in and out of the airport during the event.
Did you notice they had put down a black polyester runway about half? I think it was the electric line. I'm not sure exactly. I thought it was paved at first. I'm thinking, I can't believe they put pavement out there, but it was polyester, that same fabric we've got out at Congaree.
Right.
So I guess they just pulled it up, you know, after the show was over.
Yeah, it was beautiful airport, no doubt. You know, there's a hangar there with a bunch of full-scale aircraft in it. They've got a P-51 Mustang out there. They've got an AT-6 Texan. There was 2 Stearmans in there.
Holy crap.
I
had planned to drop in, but once it was time to leave, I had home in my eyes, and so I just kept on driving.
Yeah.
I looked at the videos, and there's a lot of incredible scale. I saw the indoor full-size aircraft, and there are a lot of posts on the control line flying site on Facebook, and people had reposted on Stunthangar as well. So there's a lot to see.
Well, they always build an airplane there as well. They build an RC airplane with volunteers, so like you can go in the workshop and cut a couple pieces or glue some pieces in.
Yeah, sign your name to it.
So they built a plane called a Valkyrie, which I'm guessing was a 30s or 40s design.
That sounds right.
Polyhedral wing, big giant round fuselage.
It's massive.
They built a Valkyrie at Joe Knoll, and I don't know what the significance of the plane is, if it was the first long distance duration RC airplane or whatever it was. So that one is there in the museum, but they're currently building is an 85% Piper Cub. That's what they're working on now.
That's this one right here.
Yeah.
85%
Cub that's going to be RC.
85%.
It looked like most of the frame was knocked up. It looked like the fuse, the elevator, the rudder, the wings. Looked like most of it was built. Like they're getting ready to cover. And I don't, they got volunteers that just come in and do stuff. I don't know how far along they'll get by next year. I don't know if it'll be airworthy next year, but if it's not, anyone who's there at the fly-in can come in and volunteer a couple hours to just do stuff on the plane. You can go in there and build an airplane while you're there and help out, and you get to sign.
I donated a whole bunch of tools and stuff to them. I hope they're finding them useful. I hope they're keeping them organized. I'm sure they are. So.
That's
I even
wild.
made some tools. You know, I made some plumb bobs and off the wall things that people might not think of, but wanted it. You know, once in a while you need a plumb bob or so. I gave them all.
Is there a few guys that oversee it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get. Oh, you mean when people are working on it?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they got project managers that are there.
Yeah, they got to. They have
Yeah,
to.
they just don't let you walk in there and start cutting shit
No,
off
exactly.
and gluing it on the airplane. No, there's a project manager there, and you walk in and you say, "Hey, I want to volunteer a little bit of time. What can I do?" And they give you a
Give you a job to do. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I suppose it's like any of these construction projects where they get a politician or a TV dignitary in and get them to do something, and then they obviously look over that part closely.
They throw it away most of the time, Gerald. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for the look, but yeah, I suppose it's that engagement though. You're getting people engaged and interested in just seeing how it goes together. But yeah, the Valkyrie's an incredible model to look at. The huge amount of work. I could imagine the enormous man hours it would take to make it.
Well, I want to say there's one in the AMA Museum in Muncie. There's a Valkyrie hanging from the ceiling at the AMA Museum. Of course, and it might be the original, or it could have been a. I'll have to look when I go to the Nats this year. I'll have to look and see if the Valkyrie hanging in the AMA Museum is the original one, or if it was one built and donated. But the Joe Nall guys built one because they wanted to fly it. The one in the AMA Museum probably has never flown.
It's not going to be flying, no.
Right. These guys, the Joe Nall guys, built one so they could actually fly.
That's neat.
Yeah. It's a huge airplane.
When you say huge, what would the span be roughly?
Oh, it's got to be 12 or 14 feet.
Oh, that's big. Yeah.
It looks like a free flight plane, Len. Like they built free flight planes in the.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Controlling the whole.
But it has a huge cabin on it, huge fuselage.
Oh yeah.
Like this big around fuselage.
Oh shit! I'd love to see that. That's amazing.
It's all formers and stringers that go way back. I'm guessing
that's wild.
8 or 9 feet from the nose to the tail.
Oh.
I mean, the elevator I think is as big as any one of our control line planes.
Yeah, just the elevator. Yeah, it would have to be.
Just the elevator's as big
60, 40 or 60 inch span.
Yeah. But there's some significance to that airplane, and my memory's failing me what it is, what the Valkyrie was, and what it did at the time.
I agree with you. There is a big significance to it, but I'm not sure what it is. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that separation. The people that are into the Society of Antique Modelers, the SAM people, there's a lot to it, and I don't always cross into their world, just flying mainly control line. But there are a lot of really keen engine collectors and free flight builders, and those that are really heavily into the historic side of it, and that's a very rich side of it. You do a Google search or an AMA search of the profile of some of those important historic modelers like Carl Goldberg, and it's really fascinating. And like Walter Musiano the other day that you're talking about, he was my great childhood hero, and it's just very rich history, very interesting history as well when you read about him. But we're lucky to be part of a very rich hobby. I suppose a lot of it paralleled what was happening in full-size aviation too, the developments that came along. And there's significant models, like ones by Sal Tabby, I think is another one, one's like Powerhouse, and there's some really quite neat models like the Zombie and New Ruler, and some really nice vintage models that have got stunning looks to them. But again, my interest is in control line, so I can't really speak with any authority. But I better go before my wife gets home and says, "What am I doing?" So
yeah, you got to go make it look like you did a whole day's work, and now about a half hour now. So.
She's pretty good with it. She knows on a Tuesday I'll try and get on if I can, if I'm not too busy. But it just means next day is going to be busier. So I'll bid you all good night, and thank you for hosting the show, Rusty.
Sure thing, Gerald.
See you,
Okay,
Gerald.
Gerald.
Thanks for the super chat donation. Appreciate that.
Good talking to you again, Gerald.
Okay, well, good night, all.
Take
Good night.
it easy.
Bye.
I
So how's
got
that Cardinal of yours coming, Rusty? Is it getting there?
how's what coming?
The Cardinal.
It's just sitting there. I got the all the hardware off of the glass and the table cleaned off. I just got to get somebody to help me pick it up and put it up on the table. And then I got my new saw from Don Jenkins. I got a 16-inch skill scroll saw now, so I'm
Oh, good for you.
re-outfitted.
I saw that sitting on the grass at Triple Tree. Is that
Yeah.
yours?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah, because my Harbor Freight one bit the dust, but this one, it looks like a nice unit. I got to look it up. It's a skill 3335 or something like that. I'm gonna look it up. But
That's awesome. Gotta have a decent scroll saw to build airplanes.
yeah, I had a bandsaw that I inherited from my grandfather. It was a tabletop bandsaw, and sold it at a garage sale, having no idea what might come in the future, and now it's gone. Except I didn't have the plate for it. The plate that goes on it, the deck is still sitting in my garage. So whoever bought it had to either make one or buy one or refit it.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, Len, do you know a guy named Ken Clapson?
I've heard the name. I'm not sure. I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's in here as just a Canadian flyer, something called a pond racer. It's a twin-engine stunt plane based on a Cardinal.
Huh. Go figure. I've heard that name, but I'm not sure who he is.
Yeah, it just says Canadian flyer. It doesn't say what province he's from.
Okay.
I got my medium CA that I picked up when I got my trophy the other day. Did you get anything off the table, Mike?
Yeah, we got some 15 lines and some CA. Yeah.
Good stuff. I just opened a bottle of that medium CA today.
Those were good shirts we got this year.
They looked amazing. I was looking at them on the video. They look good.
I'll sell you one for 200 Canadian.
I bet you would.
Yeah, I had, they were almost all gone, and I asked Mark after the ceremony if there were any left, and I don't know if he seemed like he might have been a little irritated that I asked. I don't. Of course, I was talking to a man that was at its wit's end after a week too.
I'm sure he was tired.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should have asked him earlier because, like he said, he made an announcement on Saturday. If anyone is new this year and did not get their T-shirt last year when the event canceled, because they didn't buy new T-shirts.
Right.
They had leftovers from last year, and he didn't want the guys that got one last year to get two.
Yeah.
So he wanted to make sure they went to people that were
new
new.
people.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go last year, and I did respond to his email telling him what size. So
Yeah.
I guess it's nothing. So. And I'm sure he was in no mood for anything after that was over. I think he was burned out completely.
Well, I think you got to get that way toward the end when you've been at it for 3 or 4 days, right?
I think you just missed him when he made the announcement about the T-shirts.
I didn't hear that. Yeah.
You should have got it then, and then when he came later, maybe he was.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's got the patience of a saint. That's for sure. Him and Will both did it.
I think I'll write him and thank him and apologize if it was anywhere like out of line. But so.
No, I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are amazing. I don't know how they do it.
No kidding.
I appreciate it.
They do a Class A job up there.
Well, I mean, think about it. Now they got in 3 weeks they got to run Brodax, and then a month after that,
the Nats.
Mark has to run the Nats. He's got.
I don't know how that guy does it. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think I should hit the hay.
Me too.
It's getting pretty late. All right. Good night, guys. Rusty.
Good night, Lynn. Thanks for dropping in on us.
Yeah, thank you. Good job.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had a good.
I'll see you, Len. No Canadian checks, man.
Hey, thanks again for those needle valves, eh?
No, yeah, no problem, eh? Just no Canadian checks, okay?
Okay.
Cold hard US dollars, man.
You betcha.
All right.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, Lynn. All right. Well, another great weekend wrapped up with its final report. So, oh, hey, Pat's place. Good night, Pat. But anyway, I guess we'll be seeing you in October. And hopefully I won't need anybody to hold my hand while I fly in October. But
work on your health, man.
yeah, I will. And again, I know I keep saying it, but I can't thank you enough for helping me out, man. I appreciate it. You're
No
good
worries.
friend.
It was my pleasure, and I'll do it anytime, Rusty.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Holly said you and tent camping didn't agree too well up there. It was hot.
Well, I mean, we only had to stay in a tent one night because we used his camper the first night because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then our third night there, he had to go home, so we used his camper again.
Yeah. And Sam told Holly, he said he slept good in the tent, but he didn't sleep so good in the trailer.
Yeah, well, he's 10. He can handle it. I'm telling you, man, tent camping is not for the old of heart, I guess.
No. Boy Scouts and young folks. Me and Holly used to go camping in the mountains, and down the beach sometimes too. But
I camped a bunch, and I slept on the ground for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Then I slept on an air mattress for a few
And
years.
I told Holly today when we were talking about, I said, yeah, Mike spent his entire career in an Airstream trailer at an airstrip, when he was a jump boss. And so.
Yeah, not anymore. I need to be a little more comfortable than that these days. So, all right. Well, we'll check in Friday, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday night. And I tried to post a good report on Cox Engine Forum, but the thing kept crashing, so I never did get to write a good one of my good classic stories. But anyway, put a couple of pictures up. So, all right, Mike. Well, have a good week. We'll talk to you Friday night, I hope. And meanwhile, chill out, have fun.
Adios.
Everybody else, thank y'all. Thanks for your super chat donations, and we appreciate everything y'all do coming in and talking to us. So until Friday, good night. Farewell.